They interview the teachers. Họ đi phỏng vấn mấy thầy. Okay? So the more they learned, the more they understood, the more the few teachers were around, available to answer their questions. Họ càng ngày họ học càng hiểu, thì càng ngày càng ít người thầy có thể trả lời được cho họ. Okay? What does it mean? Nghĩa là sao? You folks read it as these people are knowledgeable. Cái vị nghe câu chuyện này, cái vị tưởng là những người thông thường người ta hiểu là ông thầy không biết nhiều. You would misunderstand that these teachers do not know that much. Thì ra cái vị tưởng lầm rằng vì cái nghĩ thấy nghe câu chuyện này là tưởng là mấy thầy này không có biết nhiều. It's not so. Không có đâu. Because when you engage in a debate, cái vị bàn luận đó, you can, you try to debate with a lawyer, for example. You know that there is no end to that argument. Nếu quý vị mà cãi lộn với một cái vị luật sư đó, không bao giờ nó cãi hết đó. Okay, right? If you use logic alone, if you use knowledge alone, you cannot teach people. Nếu quý vị dùng cái chi kiến thôi đấy, thì dạy người ta không được. What it means is that these people, these teachers they interviewed, were not able to answer them. Họ trả lời những cái vị thầy này mà phỏng vấn mà trả lời không được đó. Có nghĩa là it only means that it's because these teachers lack adequate samadhi power. Tại vì các vị thầy này họ thiếu cái định lực, họ thiếu cái đạo đức. They lack way virtue. That's why these two young boys were not impressed. Vì vậy hai cái cậu trẻ này không có phục. Okay? Slide 85, tấm 85. So these two boys travel all over. Hai cái cậu trẻ này đi lùng khắp tất cả cái nước Ấn Độ. You have to remember back then traveling is very difficult. Phải nhớ đời xưa bên Ấn Độ đó, đi đứng nó khó khăn lắm. Unlike today, giống như ngày hôm nay, when I go to Santa Ana to record a TV program. Ở đây xứ này thời buổi này thầy mà đi tới Santa Ana để mà thâu mấy cái hình program TV đó, only takes me 45 minutes, tốn có 45 phút à. Okay, on the freeway, trên xe lộ đó, xa lộ đi 45 phút à. Back is 45 minutes, and that's a long time for me already. Để như vậy thế là xa quá đó. Okay. Back then, these people, these two boys, they went wherever they heard of a great teacher. Bất cứ chỗ nào mà nghe người ta khen là có một ông thầy nào giỏi là họ lặn lội tới để mà phỏng vấn ông thầy. They would travel long distances to seek a teacher, to seek a teacher's instruction. That is the spirit of Mahayana again. Đó là cái tinh thần đại thừa. Không có ngại đường xa khó khăn mà vẫn đi tới đó mà để xin được dạy. So the spirit of Mahayana is that if you have the potential, you have the blessings, then you do not mind going long distances in order to seek instructions from a teacher. Okay? And so what they realized that no one actually could convince them that they have a way to help them reach the non-production, the deathless, the unborn state, or the deathless state. Okay, Thì họ mới khám phá rằng hai cái cậu bé này mới khám phá rằng không có người thầy nào mà có thể thuyết phục họ là họ biết cái phương pháp để mà đắc được cái thoát được cái chết. And so they came back very disappointed, trở về lại về nhà rất là thất vọng, nói là trời, làm sao mà mình đi khắp mình kiếm ra thầy, làm sao bây giờ? So they came back disappointed, and then they came to agreement. They signed a contract. They said that whoever discovers it first will help the other. And họ đồng ý với nhau rằng, thỏa thuận với nhau rằng họ sẽ tiếp tục tìm, mà người nào tìm trước thì sẽ biết báo cho người kia nghe. Okay. Isn't that wonderful? Friendship, quý vị thấy cái tình bạn, tình nghĩa bạn hay dễ sợ. That's the kind of friend I'd like to have. Bạn bè như vậy, thầy hy vọng có được. So one day, ngày kia, Upatissa, which is before he became Magaudyayana, thì I'm sorry. Upatissa actually is Shariputra, right? I confused after a while. So which one is that? Upatissa. Okay. Shari. Okay, living Upatissa. Okay, fine. Okay, sorry. Huh? Yeah. Upatissa is Shariputra, right? Okay. Thì một ngày kia, excuse me, it's been a while. Thì ngày kia, cái cậu bé mà sau này trở thành sở hành xá lợi Phất đó, he was walking on the street. Cái cậu bé đó đi bộ, and he ran into one of the first 5 arhats, disciples of the Buddha. Thì cái cậu đó mới gặp được cái ngài, một trong 5 cái vị A-la-hán đầu tiên, đệ tử của Phật đầu tiên của Phật. Now, after the Buddha left the home life and he started teaching, he crossed over his 5 attendants, his prior 5 attendants. Thì khi mà ngài 5 cái người đệ tử mà ngài dạy đầu tiên hết á, nhận đầu tiên hết là 5 cái vị tùy tùng lúc trước đó. Okay, and dẫn dạy người kia và họ đều đắc A-la-hán. All these 5 disciples certified to 4th stage arhatship. Okay, and then he sent them out. See, these are became his emissaries. Họ tự động làm sứ giả cho Phật, đi khắp hết, không ở với Phật. These 5 went all over India. Đi khắp hết tất cả mọi nơi. Để mà truyền bá cái Phật pháp. Okay. So one of them is very Asaji. Một cái người đó tên là ngài Asaji. So he was walking and Shariputra ran across Asaji. Thì ngài xá lợi Phất á, cậu bé đó thấy được cái vị A-la-hán Asaji này. And what struck him is Asaji's awesome comportment. Cái uy nghi của người A-la-hán, tứ quả A-la-hán nó tuyệt vời. Okay? If you ever met one 4th stage arhat, you can see how dignified, how adoring they can be. Cái vị mà tứ quả A-la-hán nó rất là trang nghiêm. Okay? They have this what is people like in Mr. Tex Beaumont's side of life, of a business is called what is it? Stage presence, something like that. Charisma, stage presence in a stage, whatever. What do you call that? Presence. Có một cái oai lực mà mình thấy mình phục once you take a look at them, they're so adorned. You say, wow, this is a great teacher. And that's exactly how Asaji came across to young Shariputra. Thành cái ngài Asaji đó, cái oai nghi đẹp quá đi. Thành ra thấy cái cầu xá lợi Phất đó, nó rất là kháng phục. And so he says, wow, I never saw anyone this adorned before. Chưa bao giờ thấy người sư nào mà trang nghiêm như vậy. Okay. So he says, should I approach him? Nên tới gặp không? And say, no, I better follow him. Okay. Thành ra không dám tới luôn nữa. Thành lẻo đẻo đi theo thử coi thử ông làm gì. So he followed him, to observe him. The more he followed Vema Asaji, young Shariputra became even more impressed. Càng theo dõi, càng thấy thán phục. Okay? Number 86, number 86. And then the Venerable Asaji was sat down and to eat. Thì ngài Asaji mới tới lúc ngài dùng trưa, ngài ngồi xuống dùng trưa. So Upatissa, what did he do? He came over and arranged a seat and made the offering, help offer food to Venerable Asaji. Thì ngài xá lợi Phất đó, mới tới giúp mà sửa soạn cái chỗ ngồi, mang nước tới để cúng dường cho ngài Asaji. Let me point out to you, this is how you receive instructions. Thầy nêu ra cái vị nhấn mạnh cho quý vị thấy. Cái người ta cho một cái người nó làm cái cách cư xử nó rất là đúng pháp. This is so appropriate, so proper for requesting a dharma. Okay, you make offerings to the triple jewels. Okay, so that you have the blessing to be able to receive the teachings. Thì phải hiểu đó, muốn học đó phải có phước mới học được. Nếu không có phước á, nhớ không thể lấy đại dương mà đổ vào cái bình được. Cái bình nó phải to mới đổ đại dương vào được. You see what I said earlier. In order for you to receive transmission, you have to be the proper size. You have to be worthy of it. Okay? And so Venerable Upatissa, young Upatissa, was very respectful. Thành cái cầu xá lợi Phất trẻ này rất là cung kính mà phục vụ cho ông thầy. He served his future teacher before he asked for instruction. Tới cúng dường cho ông thầy để mới xin được dạy, xin cái lời chỉ giáo. Okay, như cái tư cách như một người học trò phục vụ cho ông thầy. Just like a pupil serving his master. This is a Mahayana Dharma. Đây là cái pháp của Đại Thừa. I run across so many when I was 20 years ago, 20 năm trước. I talked to quite a few lay disciples. They nói nhiều người tại gia lắm. And they told me proudly, khoe với thầy, I would fly to Vietnam. Thầy biết không? Tôi bay qua Việt Nam. And then I have an 1 hour audience with this great child teacher. Tôi được tới, tôi được hầu chuyện với Hòa Thượng, Đại Hòa Thượng Thiền Sư này. And they all invariably say that they are connected with these great teachers. You have the picture taken with họ được chụp hình chung với Hòa Thượng, đem về khoe mọi người. Okay. That's a wrong dharma. Cái pháp bất trật. Totally wrong dharma. You go there, you sweep the floor, tới đó quét nhà đi, rửa chén đi, okay. Offer food. You create blessings first before you're able to receive the teachings. Phải tạo phước mới nhận được, mới có thể đón nhận được cái lời dạy. Okay? So I love this story. There are many versions of different stories, and có nhiều cái câu chuyện, có nhiều cái uyển khúc nó khác nhau. Thì khi nhiều người thầy nó kể câu chuyện nó khác. I choose these things to illustrate to you how Mahayana is transmitted. This is the proper dharma. Cái chánh pháp nó được truyền như vậy. Có những người có căn cơ ta có như vậy. Okay? Again, remember earlier I said all these people came there. They are very qualified. They are well educated. And they've been monks and nuns for a long, long time. Learned from great teachers. There's a nun who came and said, "I learned from all the great teachers in Vietnam." Có sư cô tới chùa nói khoe với thầy, nói thầy biết không? Con đi khắp hết tất cả Việt Nam, bất cứ hòa thượng nào nổi tiếng đều dạy cho con một pháp vậy. She says, I visited all the great masters in Vietnamese masters, and each one of them taught me their dharma. And so I looked at her and I asked myself, is that all you learn? Is that all you know? Thầy mới nhìn cái cô đó, thầy mới nói, ủa, cô học biết bao nhiêu người chỉ tới được cái chừng này thôi hả? Thầy học làm cái gì? It's not so much a teacher, it's that you are not able to understand the teaching. Quý vị thấy không? Thầy có giỏi chừng nào, khi học trò không hiểu được, thầy cũng vô ích. All right, number 87, 87. And so after young Shariputra served food to Venerable Asaji, sau khi ngài Xá Lợi Phất còn trẻ đó, đứa bé Xá Lợi Phất đó phục vụ cho cái người thầy, xong quỳ xuống hỏi pháp. He knelt down and asked for instructions. Okay, and he says, you are so adorned. Ngài oai nghiêm đẹp quá đi. Who is your teacher? Who taught you to be this way? Ai dạy cho thầy được cái pháp này? And what did he teach you? Thầy hỏi khôn lắm, hỏi là thầy của thầy là ai? Và thầy ngài dạy cái gì vậy? Okay. So you see, you left home people, all of you understand. After you learn from your teacher, when you go away, you then become the ambassadors of your teachers. Thành quý vị thấy không? Học pháp xong á, rồi ông thầy mình trở thành sứ giả cho ông thầy. Because why is that? Because quite often, rất là thông thường, cái người thường người ta không thấy được ông thầy. Very often you cannot see the teacher. It's much easier to look at the teacher's pupils. Nhưng khi nhìn học trò của ông thầy dễ thấy hơn. Okay. For example, ví dụ, when I came to Master Sri Hoa, một khi mà thầy tới ngài Thiên Hóa đó, all I heard is about his great prowess. Thì nghe được ngài có thần thông, ngài giỏi với sự có ngài đại nguyện. I heard of his great vows. Nghe những cái lời đại nguyện của ngài, nghe người ta đồn là ngài có thần thông, ngài rất là giỏi. And I was greedy because I thought that he has spiritual powers, and he vowed to save people who can look at him and who listen to him and so on. So I came there for that reason. But I couldn't see anything special about him. Mặc dù như vậy, thầy gặp vài lần mà thầy không thấy gì đặc biệt. Ông sư này rất là tầm thường. He's so ordinary. If you weren't for his monk's garbs, if he wears lay people's clothing, he looks like just anyone else. Nếu ngài Tiên Hóa mà mặc áo thường thôi, không khác gì bất cứ người đàn ông nào khác. And when he wore his monk's garb, khi mặc đồ người xuất gia đó, he's a lot less impressive than his pupils. Thì ngài Ngài còn có vẻ tầm thường hơn là đệ tử của Ngài nữa. I remember Hẩn Sự walking around. Phải nhớ Ngài Hân Thật đó. Đi còn có gồng đi mà rất là oai nghi. Còn Ngài Thanh Hóa đi lùn xù. Whereas Master Shane Hoa is just walks just like không thấy được cái gì hết. He cannot see anything. It's amazing. Những cái người đệ tử Ngài Thanh Hóa ai cũng là gồng mình hết. All disciples, they show their awesome deportment. They show that I'm a disciple of great Master Shane Hoa. The Master Shane Hoa, he looks so ordinary. Ngược lại Ngài Thanh Hóa trông rất là tầm thường. It's amazing to me. I never forgot that. Thầy luôn luôn nhớ cái đó. Okay. Anyway, so so Asaji replied, back to slide number 87. Asaji replied, my teacher says, cái ngài Asaji mới dạy, because Asaji observed how the youth served him. Thằng Asaji thấy cái người trẻ này đó, cái cách mà cung kính cái người trẻ mà tới phục vụ cho mình đó. He was so impressed. He was touched. Rất cảm động. Because I assure you, Asaji cannot tell Upatisa's potential. Tại sao? Tại vì thầy biết rằng cái ngài Asaji này không đủ khả năng mà thấy được cái căn cơ ngài Xá Lợi Phất. Okay? But he's so impressed with Asaji's sincerity. Để vì cái lòng thành tâm của ngài Upatissa. So he taught him the highest dharma he learned from his teacher. Và ngài Asaji mới dạy cái pháp mà cao nhất ngài học được với Đức Phật. So far so good, nghe rõ không? Because the people who came to our temple and they listened to this, they walk away. Nghe những cái pháp này, có những người tới nghe tới chùa mình đó, bỏ đi ngay lập tức. Why? Because they wanted to hear about greed, hatred, stupidity. Họ muốn nghe lời giảng về tham, sân si. If you talk to them about arise from condition, extinguish from condition, nếu dạy họ là cái pháp condition dharma, condition. What's condition in Chinese? Are you Chinese people? Yin Yuan. Duyên khởi. Conditional arising. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Very good. Thank you. Conditioned arising. Okay. Yuan chỉ. Duyên khởi. Okay. Duyên khởi. Okay. Everything arises from condition. Tất cả mọi sự đó đều từ duyên khởi. And when the conditions are finished, then these dharmas will be extinguished. Mà khi cái duyên nó hết rồi thì những cái pháp nó cũng hết luôn. Okay? All arise from condition. All are extinguished from conditions. That's what my teacher said. Asaji, that's what Asaji said. Ngài Asaji trả lời như vậy. Thầy tôi dạy rằng mọi sự từ duyên khởi. Từ duyên nó khởi lên mà từ duyên nó sẽ chấm dứt. Okay? As soon as the venerable young Shariputra heard it, he immediately certified the first stage arhatship. Nghe một cái là ngài cái cậu trẻ Xá Lợi Phất lập tức chứng sơ quả A La Hán. Okay. And he was so excited. He bowed to Asaji. Cậu bé Xá Lợi Phất rất là hứng thú, đảnh lễ cảm ơn, and immediately ran back to find his friend. Đảnh lễ xong lập tức chạy về kiếm bạn thân của mình. Okay. And trở về lại number 88, trở về tấm 88. His friend young Magaudyayana saw him and said, wow, there's something different about my friend. Cái cậu trẻ Mục Kiên Liên đó nhìn bạn thân của mình đó, rồi thấy ngay, biết ngay bạn thân mình đổi rồi. Okay. And so he asked about it, and young Shariputra was excited. Yes, you are right. I have found a way, and repeated the teachings. Everything arises from conditions. Everything perishes from conditions. Thành cái cậu của Mục Kiền Liên mới nói, ngày nay bạn có vẻ thay đổi nhiều, gì xảy ra vậy? Thành ra cậu Xá Lợi Phất trẻ mới nói, đúng rồi, ngày nay tôi khám phá một cái đại sự, là thầy kia ông dạy mọi sự đều duyên khởi. Mục Kiền Liên nghe một cái là lập tức chứng sơ quả là as soon as Magaudyayana heard it, he also certified to first day's arhatship. Okay. What happened? What's the big deal of first day's arhatship? Cái sơ quả La Hán nó có đặc biệt chỗ nào? I will tell you a little bit, a few more slides. I will tell you what it means, what the Buddha kind of said about first day's arhatship. Tí xíu thầy giảng thêm cho về cái sơ quả La Hán ra sao. And so these two young boys decided to go to Venerable Asaji's teacher for further instructions. Thành hai người trẻ nó khôn lắm, lập quyết định đó là tới gặp cái người thầy mà của ông thầy này. And number 89, tấm 89. So they went to see the Buddha. They decided to go to see the Buddha, but họ quyết định đi tới gặp Đức Phật. Trước khi đi đó, they decided that we should tell our teacher, our current teacher, about this great teacher. Thành hai người này đó mới quyết định là mình phải báo cáo cho ông thầy biết, ông thầy mình. Okay? So these people are always respectful of their last teacher. Thì cho chứng minh quý vị thấy cái tinh thần của người hai học trò này rất cung kính, biết ơn ông thầy của mình. And quý vị thấy không, cái lòng biết ơn nó mặc dầu mình rời thầy mình đi rồi, mặc dầu mình biết là mình ông thầy nó không còn có lợi cho mình nữa hết, mà không quên ơn ông thầy mình. Even though they knew that their last teacher was of no further use to them, and yet they're still grateful and came to share with their last teacher, their late teacher, the last teacher, their new understanding. Hiểu một cái tới xin tìm cách mà trả ơn ông thầy mình, chia sẻ cái hiểu biết của mình với ông thầy. Because at that point in time, they were better than their teachers already. Sớ quả La Hán là cao hơn trình độ ông thầy mình rồi. Okay? And what is that? And again, that is another indicator of this person's Mahayana potential. Ở đây là một cái dữ kiện khác cho quý vị thấy cái căn cơ đại thừa cái người này. Cái người có căn cơ đại thừa là luôn luôn biết ơn thầy mình. The people with Mahayana roots are always grateful to the teacher. Okay? So far so good? Thành không quên ông thầy mình nha. Mặc dù mình hơn ông thầy mình mà vẫn không quên, vẫn nhớ ơn ông thầy mình. So even though they surpassed the teacher, they still came and shared good news with the teacher. Thành tới báo cho ông thầy biết. Slide number 90. Master, you gotta go see this great teacher. Okay, nói thầy ơi thầy, thầy phải tới gặp cái Đức Phật. Thầy phải tới gặp Đức Phật. And you know, their teacher believed them. Ông thầy đó, ông tin ngay lập tức. Yes, this is a great teacher. Đúng, Đức Phật là người thầy rất là giỏi. But it's too late for me. Okay, như đều giờ trễ quá rồi. I'm so used to what I have right now. I'm so used to being a teacher, I cannot afford to be a student anymore. Bây giờ mình đã làm thầy, làm đại sư đã biết bao nhiêu năm rồi. Làm sao bây giờ làm học trò lại được? Okay? So the teacher, remember Sanjaya says, I can't. It's too late for me. Bây giờ trễ với cho tôi. Okay? 91. 91. So the two of them went to the Buddha and asked to leave the whole life. Hai cậu trẻ đó tới gặp Đức Phật và xin xuất gia với Phật. Okay? And the Buddha agreed. Phật đồng ý cho họ xuất gia. And Magaudyayana went to live in a village separate from the Buddha. Và ngài Một Kiền Liên mới rời Đức Phật đi tu riêng. Okay. And he was practicing vigorously. Ông Một Kiền Liên tu hành rất là tinh tấn. And he had to fight with sleepiness. Phải gặp cái sự chướng ngại của cái thủy miên. And so the Buddha came and helped him overcome that. And so after 7 days after he left the home life, he certified the 4th stage Arhatship. Vì tu hành tinh tấn như này được Đức Phật hướng dẫn, thành ra ngài Một Kiền Liên sau 7 ngày xuất gia, sau 7 ngày đã đắc tứ quả là 7 days. It takes only 7 days to certify the 4th stage Arhatship. Có 7 ngày rồi, từ sơ quả tới tứ quả ngay lập tức. Giỏi dễ sợ. Isn't that incredible? Any questions? Ai thắc mắc gì không? Uh, 92. Whereas Shariputra continued to serve under the Buddha. Ngài Xá Lợi Phất thì ở bên cạnh của Đức Phật. And he listened to a lot of Buddha's teaching. Vì bên cạnh Phật thành ra mỗi lần Phật nói pháp đó, ngài nghe rất nhiều pháp. That's why he later became number one in wisdom. Vì nghe được nhiều pháp như vậy, thành ra sau mới được Phật chứng xác nhận là đệ nhất về trí huệ. Okay? Any questions or comments? Ai có ý kiến thắc mắc gì không? All right. So what is the big deal about first stage arhat? Cái tại sao cái sơ quả La Hán nó quan trọng như vậy? There is on slide 93, 83. There's the story about the son Anatha Pindika, con của cái ông đại thương gia mà xây cái Jeta Grove. What's Vietnamese for Jeta Grove? Vườn Kỳ Đà. The Jeta Grove. Anatha Pindika is a very rich man. He's a treasurer of the king. Cái ông Anatha Pindika này là rất giàu. Okay. Có người con á, tên là his name is Kala, tên là Kala. Kala never showed desire to visit the Buddha. Cái ông đứa con này á, mặc dù ông cha mình rất là sùng đạo, even though his father is a great believer and hangs around the temple, tới chùa hay thích tới chùa lắm. And the son doesn't care to see the Buddha. Đứa con thì không muốn tới gặp Phật. And even when the Buddha came over to the house for a visit, he doesn't care to hear or even serve the sangha. Mặc dù Phật với đệ tử tới nhà thăm, tới nhà chơi, thỉnh tới nhà thì cũng không có muốn nghe pháp của muốn phục vụ cho họ. And never pay attention to his father's advice. Không muốn nghe lời cha khuyên nữa. And so the Anatha Pindika thought, bởi vì ông thương phú đó, ông thương gia đó, mới nghĩ, I say the rate that my son is going is surely it's going to go to hell. Nói cái tiếp tục như vậy, con trai mình chắc chắn nó đọa địa ngục. And this is not an insult to any of you. Okay? Không phải thầy nói xiên, nói xéo gì quý vị đâu. Okay? This is a true story, cái trong kinh kể ra. Okay? And but I'm going to try to change it. Để mình sẽ cố gắng giúp con mình. I'm going to use bribery. I'm going to bribe him to make him learn the Mahayana Buddhism. Thành muốn hối lộ để con mình học Phật pháp. So he says, son, go take refuge. Listen to the Dharma, and if you come back, I will give you 100 gold coins. Anh mới nói thương lượng với con. Nói là bây giờ con tới con quy Phật, quy Tam Bảo. Oh, today it will be a refuge, taking refuge. But no 100 coins, okay? Đều ngày không có 100 đồng vàng đâu. Trở về là cha sẽ cho con 100 đồng vàng. And that's the Kala's ear perked up, 100 gold coins, that buys a lot of booze. 100 đồng vàng đó là có rất nhiều ăn uống, ăn nhậu đã lắm á. So he said, okay, I go take refuge. Và na tới quy y. And okay. And 94, 94. So he walked the monastery and received the precepts. And he didn't listen to the Dharma. He just left for a while and then he came back the following day. And tới quy y, thọ giới, thọ đại sợ gì, xong nằm xuống ngủ gật, không có nghe pháp, xong ngủ gật xong đứa thức dậy đi về. And so his father ordered food to be served. And ông cha mừng lắm, nó đem đồ ăn ra cho con mình ăn. Nhìn đứa con nó nhìn ăn, nhìn đói, nó không được, cha phải trả tiền con mới ăn. So Kala says, have you forgotten? You have to pay me, otherwise I don't eat. Khổ dễ sợ không? Dạy con mà khó khăn như vậy đó. Cha phải trả tiền con mới ăn. And so Anatha Pindika paid him. And the following day, Anathapindika said, I give you 1,000 gold coins if you learn a single verse of Dharma from the Buddha. Ông biết khám phá rằng con mình không nghe pháp gì hết đó, không biết trời trăng gì hết, không biết quy, không nghĩa là gì, không biết Phật là gì, không biết pháp gì, không biết cả tăng gì hết đó. Phải mới hối lộ tiếp, nó bây giờ mình cho nó 1.000 đồng tiền vàng để mà học một cái câu Phật pháp thôi. Learn one single verse. I'll give you 1,000 gold coins. Cho con 1.000 đồng tiền vàng. Of course, the guy immediately went to the lecture. Ông lập tức tới chùa, lập tức nghe Phật giảng. He sat down and said, I'm going to listen to one sentence, one verse, one sentence, and leave. Tới đó dự tính là nghe Phật giảng một câu xong rồi đứng dậy đi về. Okay? So the Buddha was lecturing. The Buddha started lecturing. Đức Phật bắt đầu giảng pháp. But something strange happened. Mà giờ chuyện lạ nó xảy ra. Ông kia nghe một câu rồi á, quên phức, không nhớ được cái câu là cái gì hết đó. He would listen to the first sentence, okay, and then as soon as the Buddha finished speaking one sentence, Kala immediately forgot it. He couldn't retain anything, không nhớ được gì hết đó. So Kala says, no problem, I hang on and learn the next sentence. Nói không sao, mình cố tâm mình chú ý, mình nghe câu thứ hai thử, rồi xong mình đứng dậy mình đi. Đức Phật giảng câu thứ hai, nghe xong mình giảng xong cái ông kia ông quên. So the same thing happened. The Buddha spoke the next sentence. Kala listened to it and immediately he forgot. And doesn't matter. Kala says, let's learn the next one. Kala rất là bình tĩnh. Mình học thêm một câu nữa. And it turns out he had to sit there for the entire lecture and he couldn't remember a thing. Thành ra lạ lắm. Phật dùng thần thông bắt nghe xong mà không cho nhớ. So the Buddha used his spiritual penetration. There's collusion, between the Buddha and Anathapindika. Rõ ràng Đức Phật là đồng lõa với con cha của ông này. Chơi xỏ ông này. Play the trick on this guy. So thành ra Phật xóa cái trí nhớ. So what happened is, let me use science to explain this to you. Để thầy giảng cái gì, dùng cái khoa học giảng cái gì nghe. The boy only wants, Kala wants to retain a short-term memory. Okay? Cái ông Kala muốn nghe trong cái trí nhớ ngắn thôi. But what the Buddha did is that he erased short-term memory. He is still in his long-term memory. Thành cái trí nhớ trong óc thì còn, mà trí nhớ ngắn thì ông Phật ông xóa hết đi, thành nó không nhớ được, nó không nhớ được. Thành ra ông nó muốn đứng dậy mà không nhớ, ủa mình về nói ông cha mình cái gì bây giờ. Thành cái giảng tất cả cái Phật pháp nghe tuốt, nhớ hết trong đầu mình rồi, đều là vô trong đầu mình rồi. Cái chủng tử trong đầu mình nhưng đều khi nhớ thì nhớ không được. So what happened is the seeds are planted in his head, but he cannot remember it. Okay? And that's, by the way, that's how you should be listening to the lecture. Đó là cái pháp, là cái phương pháp để nghe giảng pháp. Mình chỉ nghe thôi. Chỉ nghe thôi. You listen, you stand up and you forget about it. Đứng dậy là quên hết. You cannot go back and boast to your brother that, oh, today I learned something so interesting. Đừng đứng dậy về khoe với ông anh mình. Bữa nay anh biết, tôi học ông thầy giảng hay dễ sợ luôn. Không nhớ gì hết luôn. Không cần nhớ luôn. Ok? Vì nghe giảng một cái bài thuyết pháp như vậy, chứng được sơ quả A-la-hán. So he listened to the Buddha's entire sermon and certified to first stage arhatship. Chứng sơ quả A-la-hán. Okay? And so he went home, and so his father looked at him and said, wow, this man, he's changed. Thì ông Kala đó, nhìn đứa con, ông cha nhìn đứa con thấy, ủa, ông này ông đổi. By the way, buổi trưa này thầy nói cái bà cụ mới tới chùa đó. I just told, they informed today at lunch, I informed the lady who came here for how many months now? 3 or 4 months? Tới 3 tháng hả? No? 1 month? Is that all? Tháng mấy hả? This is terrible. Ngày nào cũng tới hết á. Tết tới giờ hả? So over a month. And so she would come to on the weekdays, go to cook lunch, eat lunch, and then go home. Trong ngày thì tới nấu ăn, xong rồi ăn trưa, xong rồi tà tí xong đi về. Mỗi ngày như vậy. On weekend she meditates on Saturday morning. Thứ bảy tới thiền đấy. Chủ nhật là tới lại Phật tí xíu. And Sunday, so she hangs around the temple. And after a month, một tháng vừa rồi, sau khi một tháng thầy bắt đầu nói, thầy nói là thầy khuyên cụ nói là cụ bớt suy nghĩ một tí. So I told her, you should think a bit less. He says, what are you talking about? Thầy nói gì lạ dữ vậy? Tôi mà không lo cho 2 đứa con tôi lo hết rồi, còn 2 đứa nữa thôi, tôi không lo, ai lo cho nó? He said, I took care of all my sons and daughters. There's only 2 left. If I don't take care of them, who's going to take care of them? I got to keep on worrying about them. Phải lo cho con mình chứ, right? I said, no, please. So she wouldn't listen to me. Thầy nói vậy bà cụ bà cũng tính bơ. So today I told her that she progressed a little bit. Thầy báo cho bà biết bà tiến bộ một tí. She went from third dhyana to fourth dhyana, từ tam thiền tới tứ thiền. Đến trẻ mặt nó xanh ngay lập tức, thèm dễ sợ, thèm. Từ tam thiền tới tứ thiền khó dễ sợ. Do you know that it's very difficult to go from third to fourth dhyana? Có biết là từ tam tới tứ nó khó chừng nào không? Why is that? Tại sao khó? Nói không nghe. It's very difficult to go from third to fourth because it's very difficult to teach a third dhyana person. They will not listen to you. They don't listen. Nói không nghe. Cứ căng nói gì là không tin. Thầy không có đâu thầy, tôi không phải như vậy đâu. Mình có xấu sau lưng bà, đừng nói lại nghe chưa? You know, this lady, I'm you know, just bad mouth behind her back. Okay, don't repeat it to her. Cái tam thiền á, chuyên luôn phê phán người ta. When you're third dhyana, you like to judge others. So I remember, I noticed how she would come to lunch, ngồi ăn trưa với bà, là bà cụ bà nói ở cái này đúng, cái này sai, cái này đúng, cái này sai, cái này đúng, cái này sai. Thầy nói là tôi không đồng ý. So she would say, this is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. I disagree with you, Venerable Xiển Trữ. Chuyên môn nó là cãi lộn với ông hiền trì, không dám cãi lộn với thầy thôi. Cãi lộn với ông hiền trì. Ông thầy già mà ông đi Việt Nam bỏ chạy, ông đi Việt Nam, ông chịu không nổi đó. And maybe that's why Xiển Trữ went to Vietnam. He couldn't take it anymore. Remember one day, bữa kia đó, thầy mới đùa với nhau, thầy nói là thầy hiền trì, thầy về Việt Nam, thầy thỉnh cái phất trần là một cái vũ khí trong thủ nhãn đó. So Venerable Xiển Trữ is going a few weeks ago before he left. He says, I'm going back to Vietnam to get 2 of these white wisps, which is a weapon we practice in the hands and eyes. Okay? One hand eyes is a white wisp. And Venerable Shariputra used that about 10,000 times. Ngài Từ Hóa dùng cái pháp phất trần đó 1,000,000 lần. He says. Cái vũ khí mà. So So he says, so when he says, I'm going to go Vietnam, I'm going to bring back Master two of these white witches, one for you, one for me. Hiền trì khoái lắm, nói là con về Việt Nam con thỉnh 2 phất trần sẵn rồi, đừng đợi, con sẽ đem về cho thầy một cái cho thầy, một cái cho con. So I think Xian Ran was joking with him and said, "But Master, you should keep it yourself. So you have one on both hands." Thành ra cô hiền nhẫn thì phải. Còn một người hợp trò đó cô đùa với thầy, nói là thầy có 2 phất trần, thầy cầm một tay, một cái phất trần một tay. So Xian Trữ said, thầy hiền trì mới nói, yeah, and then I'm gonna wherever I go, I say, you. Thầy hiền trì thầy cũng đùa, thầy nói tôi gặp ai tôi quất đấy, một người quất phía tay phải, người quất phía tay trái. You know what she said? Thầy chẳng, bà con hỏi thầy. She immediately said, let me ask you, Master, why do you become a left home person? Thầy làm cái gì? Hiền trì mặt đỏ lên. Her face be turned red. He couldn't answer her. Bà nó mà dữ vậy sao? She looks like not very talkative, but she judges you constantly. Cái bà này chuyên môn là như cái bà con Ngân vậy đó. Chuyên môn là cái phán xét người ta. Tuần vừa rồi không còn hỏi sốc người ta nữa. Mới đây so recently she stopped doing that. Bớt thấy mình đúng. It's a very heavy attachment to see that you are right. Cái tụi tam thiền nó nghĩ là mình đúng, thành nói nó không được, phải đồng ý nó mới đồng ý nó mới chịu, nó mới tin, không đồng ý nó không tin. Thành nó dạy tụi nó khó lắm, tại vì nó phải đồng ý. It's very difficult to teach them because they need to agree with you. Cái mấy thầy mấy cô mấy tụi tam thì nó kẻ cứng hết, cái tụi ngoại đạo nó kẻ cứng một chỗ, dạy không được, nó không đồng ý, nó không tin, chịu rồi. Yes. Cô đâu có biết đâu, thầy biết mà thầy không nói. Thầy tức cười, thầy cứ tủm tỉm cười, mình nói gì đó cứ cãi hoài, mình cũng cười cà nhưng mình làm gì được bây giờ. May nó không chịu mua vui mình thôi chứ. Khó lắm, khó dễ sợ lắm, dạy không được, nó dạy không được, dạy tụi nó không được, nó không nghe. Cứng đầu dễ sợ. And she says, it's not a third dhyana. You know, only third dhyana, but older people, they're very hard to teach, right, Tex? Huh? Anyone over 50? Tại sao vậy? Lớn tuổi họ nghĩ là họ biết hơn mình mà, đồ nhí mà biết cái gì. Right? They say, you are so young, what do you know about life? Gideon is 49 only, yeah, that's right. Anyway, so I don't know how she made it because it wasn't me. Thầy biết chắc chắn thầy không có gì đó, không có làm gì hết, không có tài cán gì hết đó. Chắc mày hên thôi đó. Thành nên bây giờ bà ít khen người, bà cô. So now she picks less. She picks less often on others. Mấy đứa nít như vậy đó, chịu. This is what happened to the small people, the babies. They nghĩ mình giỏi. They think they're so good. Anyway, so người lớn cũng vậy, người già cũng vậy. Somehow everyone is behaving like a kid. But when you become first stage arhat, your demeanor immediately changes. Cái vị biết không? Khi mà cái vị đắc sơ quả La Hán, cái oai nghi mình nó đổi ngay lập tức. It's a clear difference. Nó khác ngay lập tức. You can tell third to fourth dhyana, thấy từ tam tới tứ thiền, vì thấy cái người tứ thiền nó nhẹ nhàng hơn một tí, nó ít kiếm chuyện mình hơn một tí. So you see, the third dhyana insists on being right, insists on judging. Fourth dhyana, they're not as, you know, say, oh, it's okay, okay. So that's an attachment. They have less of an attachment, bớt một tí. But when you get to stream entry, first stage hardship, là cái gì nhập lưu đó, tới đặt cái nhập lưu quả đó, là con người nó đổi nha. You change. It's okay. And so his father was so pleased with the change. Of course, you have to realize his father is higher than that. Quý vị biết là chắc chắn là cái ông cha của cái cậu Kala này là trình độ cao hơn, là mới nhảy được thấy đứa con như vậy. Cho người thường thấy không nổi đâu. Because the regular person cannot notice it. Because Kala at this level, his father is higher, that's why he can see the difference from one level to the next. Cái người cao hơn thấy được ta đổi, từng trình độ ta đổi, hiểu không? Người thấp hơn thấy, người thấy nó cũng chừng nữa thôi, mình ngẩng đầu cũng thấy giống nhau thôi. Okay? When you below them, you cannot tell the difference. Okay? So his father was very pleased, so immediately went to the monastery to make offerings. Để tới lập tức tới chùa để mà cúng dường. Thì cái câu chuyện này nó có biết bao nhiêu pháp đại thừa trong này, nó giấu trong này, quý vị đọc quý vị cũng thấy được. I tell you the story, it sounds so simple, and yet there's so many Mahayana dharmas in this simple story. The great Mahayana dharma, bao nhiêu cái pháp đại thừa, đại pháp trong này quý vị cũng thấy, không biết. And so he offered food to the whole order. Ông tới ông cúng dường đồ ăn cho các tăng đồ. Okay. Ông cha đó tới đích thân tới cúng dường. Okay. And Kala was there and said, "Wow, I hope that my dad would not tell others that I did all this for money." Lúc đó cái ông Kala bỗng nhiên ông hổ thẹn. Ông nói hy vọng ông cha mình giấu là không nói tới người ngài biết á, là mình làm những chuyện này đi. Ông cha ông cho tiền, hứa cho tiền mình mới tới chùa. Okay. I had a similar experience. Thầy cũng giống tương tự như vậy đó. The first time I went to see Master Srinhoa, lần đầu tiên thầy tới gặp Ngài Tiên Hoa đó, I tag along my parents. Hồi đó là to tell hai cha mẹ mình tới thăm thôi. My father and mother went to present him, make an offering of, I think, a big check. Rồi đó tới cúng dường Ngài Tiên Hóa như một cái cúng số tiền lớn. And so I tag along, and then I decided to leave the home life. Rồi đó thầy cũng quyết định là xuất gia. Okay, and I left the home life, and I said, this guy is known to read people's thoughts. Nghe danh Ngài Tiên Hóa là chuyên môn đọc ý người ta. Okay, and he can know your past, và biết cái quá khứ của mình luôn, mình làm gì, những chuyện tầm bậy tầm bạ mình làm á, là ông biết hết nữa. He knows what you did wrong in the past. Okay. So when I came to him, I asked him to leave the home life. Thành thầy tới, thầy xin xuất gia đó. Thầy said, I would ask you to leave the home life, but I hope you don't tell my parents that I did that thing wrong. Thầy nói là con tới con xin thăm thầy thôi, để con hy vọng thầy đừng nói cha mẹ con biết là con làm chuyện tầm bậy. Okay. And so Master Shariputra, when I asked him to leave the home life, khi mà thầy xin phép Ngài Tiên Hóa xuất gia đó, normally you ask certain questions. Lúc mà xin xuất gia, ta hỏi những câu. Okay, and among the answers to those questions, I did something wrong. Những cái câu thầy trả lời đó có những cái chuyện tầm bậy của thầy đã làm. Ok, thầy nói là nếu mà ngài hỏi con những câu như vậy, đừng hỏi cái câu đó thôi, cái câu khác ngài hỏi thì hỏi, chứ còn đừng hỏi cái câu đó. So I asked him, "Please don't ask me about that matter. Anything else is okay. I can reveal in front of my parents, but not that thing, okay?" Thầy cũng thương lượng trước. Thầy nó thầm thôi, nó là thầy hỏi gì hỏi, đừng có hỏi cái chuyện đó giùm cho con. And guess what? Chuyện gì xảy ra? He didn't ask at all. Không hỏi gì hết. Cho phép ngay lập tức. He said, okay. So that's the difference between having Anathapindika, dealing Anathapindika and Venerable Srinivasa. Quý vị thấy sự khác biệt giữa ngài Tiên Hóa với ông thương gia này không? So anyway, the father offered fruit and then gave 1,000 gold pieces to his son. Thì lúc đó cái ông hi Peter, ông mới đưa 1.000 đồng tiền vàng cho đứa con trước cả mọi người. And Kala was so embarrassed. Và đưa tiền như vậy, cái ông Kala, trời mắc cỡ quá đi. Nó trời mình nó bây giờ ngon lành, mình té ra tham tiền. It turns out he's so embarrassed, he didn't want people to know he's so greedy for money. Con nhà giàu còn tham tiền. He comes from a rich family and yet he's so greedy for money. Terrible, terrible. So he says, "Dad, I really don't care for money." Cha biết không, con đâu có tham tiền đâu. Anathapindika so naive. He says, but you make me so happy today. Your demeanor is so adorned. Để ông cha nhất mình khăng đòi con cái trang điểm đẹp quá. And yesterday you refused to eat unless you were paid first, and therefore today and yet today you turned down my money. Ngày hôm qua thì bắt phải trả tiền mới là ăn. Thì ngày này cha đưa đồ ăn cho con để con phải đưa tiền cho con để con ăn đồ ăn. So 96 and then the Buddha explained, đó Đức Phật mới giảng, you know, when you certify the first stage arhatship, khi mà quý vị đắc được sơ quả La Hán rồi đó, okay, your blessings, you create a blessing, quý vị tạo cái phước báo đó, even more than that of the universal wheel turning monarch. Phước báo nó còn nhiều hơn cái vị chuyển luân thánh vương nữa. Cái vị giàu đến độ còn giàu hơn chuyển luân thánh vương. You know what a universal wheel turning monarch is? Có ai biết cái đó là cái chuyển luân thánh vương là gì không? In the human realm, he's the richest dude. Cái trong nhân gian đó, cái người ông vua chuyển luân thánh vương người giàu nhất. He has 7 gems. Giàu đến độ có 7 cái thất bảo. Giàu đến độ như vậy. He has 7 gems. Okay? One of which is thất bảo. Một cái là kho tàng. Okay? He has so much wealth. Có tiền nhiều đến độ. He doesn't need to carry a wallet. Không cần mang cái xách tay đi nữa. Wherever he goes, bất cứ tới chỗ nào mà cần tiền đó, wherever he goes, he needs money. He doesn't need to reach in for a Visa card or bring out dollar bills. Không cần phải rút cái thẻ Visa ra. Okay? He says, as soon as he needs money, there is a spirit, treasury spirit, who pick up the money from the earth. Cái tiền đó, cái của cải vàng bạc đó, nó hiện ra dưới đất đó. Cần bao nhiêu là có bấy nhiêu. Dễ sợ không? That's a universal wheel turning monarch. No need to carry money. Không cần bao nhiêu tiền có bao nhiêu. No matter how much money he needs, he can get it immediately wherever he goes. Because there is a a money guy, a money spirit. So we're always there to serve him. Chuyên môn có ông thần đi theo, mà cần bao nhiêu tiền là đưa bấy nhiêu, dân bấy nhiêu, giàu không đổi. That's how rich he is. Okay. So far so good. That's only one of the 7 gems. Đó là một trong thất bảo thôi. There's a general gem, có một cái bảo khác là ông tướng. General. Wherever he goes to war, bất cứ ai mà cần đi đánh lộn với ai, đi chiến tranh với ai, he has a general that's invincible. Ông tướng đó là trăm trận trăm thắng, không bao giờ thua ấy. Okay? He has an elephant gem, có một cái con voi. Okay? That elephant there can defeat any army. Cái con voi đó nó có thể đả bại tất cả những cái quân đội người khác by himself. Okay? He has a horse gem, có một cái mã bảo. Okay? That he hops on a horse, he can go anywhere in a split moment. Ngồi trên ngựa đó, phi một cái là tới, bất cứ tới đâu là tới ngay lập tức. No need to hop on an airplane, không cần đi máy bay chậm quá. And what else does he have? Còn gì nữa? Does anyone know? Ai còn nhớ hai cái bảo cuối cùng là gì không? A woman? Oh, thank you, Tex. I forgot about it. What did you say? Ông nói có một cái ngọc nữ bảo. What does a woman do, her Tex? I forgot already. Ông cái ngọc nữ này á, okay, là bất cứ đi đâu đó, okay, là có ngọc nữ đi theo. Okay, wherever he goes, the jade woman is always with him. Doing what, I'm not sure. Okay? What else you need in life? Con cần gì nữa không? Maybe a temple. Okay, I forgot what the 7th. Cái bảo thứ 7 là gì ha? Anyone know? Hả? Cái dĩa bay. The flying saucer. Anyway, so in the human realm, the universal wheel turning monarch is the richest guy. Thành trong cái cõi nhân gian này, không có ai giàu mà có quyền thế hơn cái ông vua này hết. Chuyển luân thánh vương, không ai bằng. Okay? So you are wealthier than this universal wheel turning monarch. Mà quý vị thấy, người sơ quả La Hán còn giàu hơn cái ông này nữa, ông chuyển luân thánh vương nữa, giàu hơn mọi người. Okay? You even have more blessings than the heavenly beings. Cái người sơ quả La Hán đó, cái phước báo nó còn nhiều hơn là cái phước báo của những người thiên nhân. The heavenly beings are even richer than universal wheel turning monarch. Cái vị chuyển luân thánh vương, phước báo còn thua cái thiên nhân. Okay? Tất cả những cái loài là tầng trời đó, phước báo tầng trời đó đều thua cái sơ quả La Hán. All the heavenly beings, the blessing on those heavens are less than the first stage arhatship. Dễ sợ không? Nói là cố. Dễ sợ không? Giàu cái đồ như vậy đó. Okay? All right. Any questions? Ai thắc mắc gì không? That's why, vì vậy, cái người con ấy, that's why there was Kala. Đấy, ông Kala đó, thì mình thấy He's no longer attached to money. Nên quý vị thấy, bữa này cái ông Kala đâu có tham tiền nữa đâu. All the wealth and riches in this world are under the control of universal will turning monarch. Tất cả những của báu trong cái cõi này đó, là đều nằm trong tay của ông Kiều Luân Thánh Vương hết. Mà ông Sơ Quả La Hán còn hơn nữa, thì sao mà tham tiền nữa? How can they be greedy for money nữa? Tước báo dễ sợ như vậy. Okay, any questions? Quý vị thấy không? Làm giàu mà đi làm việc thì dở quá. See, the conclusion you should have is that if you want to become rich, making money, going to work is an inferior way. Agree? You practice, you cultivate, and becoming first stage ahaship, you're a lot richer. Nếu như bỏ thời giờ tu, giàu hơn nhiều. Yes? No? Phải không con nhớ? Tu giàu hơn nhiều. So this is nothing. Cái này đâu chưa gì hết. This is nothing. Nothing. The sutra says, kinh nói rằng, if you're able to sit in chant for one split second with no thoughts, mấy cái vị ngồi thiền trong một chút lát thôi, trong một cái sát na thôi, trong cái khoảng khắc thôi, mà cái vị không có một cái tư tưởng nào hết. Nothing, okay. Nothing. The blessings you generate, cái phước báo mà cái vị tạo ra đó, nó còn nhiều hơn, even more than a person who offers, còn nhiều hơn những người mà cúng dường, xây cái bảo tháp. The more than a person who offers the stupas of seven gems, bảo tháp bằng thất bảo, gold, silver, lapis lazuli, carnelian, pearl, mother pearl, red pearl, and so on. Thất bảo đó, đủ thứ hết. Mà nhiều như là cát của sông Hằng, as many as the sands of Ganges rivers, meaning it's countless. Cái người cúng dường cái bảo tháp này không bằng được cái người mà ngồi thiền. Bởi vậy đó. Nóng quá nè. Okay. All right. Any questions? Ai thắc mắc gì không? All right. So I forgot what the seventh gem is. Anyway, only the most important ones I remember. Okay. Now, there is I prepared this for Venerable Xiển Chê. Thầy soạn cái này cho thầy thiền giới. Bây giờ thầy thiền giới đi Đài Loan rồi. And now he went to Taiwan. So I guess it's not meant to be. Làm sao cái pháp gì Phật dạy ngài Mu Kiên Liên, cái pháp gì để mà kháng cự lại cái buồn ngủ? Where did the Buddha teach in Venerable Magaudyayana what Dharma he used? He was taught to fight the combat sleepiness. So the next 3 slides are about what you do when you cultivate, you feel sleepy. Là quý vị trong cái 3 cái tấm liên tiếp này, quý vị có thể thấy cái pháp mà ngài Đức Phật dạy đó, để mà khi mình tu hành đó, mà buồn ngủ là sao? Vô yin, when she goes to the chan chi, and as soon as you turn the lights off, Cô Khoan Ngân mỗi lần mà thiền đất á, mà tắt đèn một cái là cô ngủ gục ngay lập tức. Very happy, rất là sung sướng. Magaudyayana, remember he very vigorous, ngài một kinh điển rất là tinh tấn. He practiced day and night, tu hành ngày đêm. And there's a difference between not sleeping when you cultivate and not sleeping when you're fooling around. Cái vì phải hiểu cái khác biệt với nhau này. Cái vì tu hành mà không ngủ nó khác cái tu khác chơi bời mà không ngủ. Humongous difference. The doctor said you must sleep. Bác sĩ ai cũng nói phải ngủ. That is when you working, when you playing, yes you must sleep. Quý vị lúc mà phải làm việc, đang chơi bời thì phải ngủ. But when you cultivate, you don't necessarily have to sleep. Quý vị đang tu hành, tu luyện đó, chưa chắc phải cần ngủ. Chưa chắc nữa. Okay? And that's a Buddhist secret. Đó là cái bí mật về Phật giáo chúng ta. So in this sutra here, the Buddha explained to Magaudyayana, so now you cultivating, you sleepy, what to do? Đang tu, mà buồn ngủ thì làm cái gì? Anyone has that problem? Có ai có vấn đề đó không? Just one or two? So these are the few things you do. Có vài cái chuyện quý vị có thể làm. When you sleep, cultivating and you feel drowsy, okay? What is drowsiness? Khi mà quý vị đang tu mà có cái vấn là buồn ngủ, bỗng nhiên cảm thấy buồn ngủ, all of a sudden you feel sleepy. What is that? Sleepiness is a thought. Phải nhớ rằng cái buồn ngủ đó là một cái tư tưởng. Okay? And therefore, ignore it. Đừng có theo nó. Thì như vậy sẽ hết buồn ngủ. Then the drowsiness will go away. Đừng có theo nó thôi. Ai nói cái đó chưa? Anyone told you that? I repeat, thầy nhắc lại cái vị. Người thường nó phải ngủ nghe chưa? Không ngủ là chết á. I'm reminding you because I don't want your family to sue me later. You normally have to sleep. Okay, if you work and so on, you have to sleep. But when you cultivate, you don't necessarily have to sleep. Okay? Yes. Normally. Normally. Thông thường đó. Bình thường đó. Okay? Con đâu có tu đâu, con hỏi làm cái gì? Con thiền thân sao không? She says she has a problem when she goes to a chan. She doesn't feel even drowsy at all. She just passed out. Okay. Cái đó là cái nghiệp chướng của nó nặng quá, thầy cũng vô phương cứu chữa luôn nữa. I said, your struggle is so heavy, there's nothing I can do for you, honey. Không biết là cái tư tưởng nó buồn ngủ luôn nữa. So, that's normal. Cái đó thông thường, me too. Thầy cũng chịu luôn nữa. Nhưng điều thông thường, normally, when you cultivate this thought, I'm tired. Cái tư tưởng đó, tôi đang mệt. Tôi phải cần nghỉ. I need to rest. Okay? I'm tired, let's rest. I'm tired, let's rest. Sounds familiar? Hơi mệt, phải nghỉ một tí đi. Đấy? Cái đó là mình đang chạy theo nó. thì mình không làm lơ. So I'm tired is one thought, ignore it. Cái tư tưởng nó lên, làm lơ. Okay? We have a chanchi. You can experiment in the chanchi. The chanchi coming next month. Okay? Thiền thất từ tháng sau quý vị sẽ tới thử với coi. Ngồi đó, còn gần thử với coi. Phải dám tham gia lần này không? Nó đòi buồn ngủ là làm lơ, đừng gục đầu. When you feel sleepy, don't lean forward, don't lean back. So far, so good. Okay? If you don't do that, it might go away. Nó sẽ bỏ đi. If not, thứ nhì, number two, if it doesn't go away, nếu không có bỏ đi đó, then you should ponder about the principles. Thành nhớ lại, quán tưởng một cái lời dạy, một cái pháp. Okay? That you heard, you learned it, okay, and examine it. Then maybe it will go away. Thì có thể hết buồn ngủ. What does it mean? Nghĩa là sao? For example, if you feel drowsy, hàng quý vị đang buồn ngủ, then you maybe recite the heart sutra. Quý vị có thể tụng cái tâm kinh này. This heart sutra, cái tâm kinh này đó, recite it. How's that? One sư giai phụ sa sinh sân bồ rơ bồ lô mi đô chư cháo thiên u yin chế cung du yi chế của sơ đi chư sơ bồ ý cung bồ ý sơ sơ. Ok? Từng chữ như vậy. Hả? What? She's back? Cái bà chắc làm chết bà Linh lắm á. She dies, she's gonna be... Mới nói xấu là bà trở lại ngay. I just bad mouth her on her back and then she came back. Why? I need a drink. Okay? So number two weapon, number two tool. Right? Okay. Cái vũ khí thứ nhì là dùng một cái pháp. Remind, something, a dharma that interests you. Dùng cái pháp mà mình thích. Okay? Tùng một cái pháp, nghĩ về cái pháp mình thích. So far, so good. Number three, thứ ba. If it doesn't work, still doesn't work. Có cái thứ tự nghe. Remember, there's an order here of priorities. Nó có một cái hiệu lực nó khác nhau. Make room for her. Mời cụ ngồi. Okay, so if it doesn't work, what do you do? Okay. I'm sorry. Number three is recite something. Xin lỗi thầy. Thứ ba là tụng. Thứ nhì là you reflect. Quý vị suy nghĩ. Okay, you ponder. Thầy xin lỗi. I apologize. Number two is you ponder about. You contemplate. Mình suy nghĩ về cái điều mình muốn hiểu. Something that bothers you, something you don't understand. Cái mình không hiểu, cái mình muốn hiểu. So far so good. Number three, you recite. Cái thứ ba là tụng. Okay. What's the difference? Nó khác nhau chỗ nào? Let me explain to you. Tôi nói cho quý vị nghe. Number one, cái pháp thứ nhất á, okay, ignore the false thought. Cái pháp thứ nhất là quý vị làm lơ cái vọng tưởng đi. Cái buồn ngủ là một cái vọng tưởng thôi. Remember, sleepiness is only one false thought. Okay? You ignore it, làm lơ nó này, đừng có theo nó, don't follow it. Number two, if it doesn't work, vẫn thấy buồn ngủ như thường, then you wonder, think about something that you don't understand. Thì mình suy nghĩ về cái mình thắc mắc. You engage your mind on something else. Cái thứ nhì là mình móc cái tâm vào một cái pháp mà mình đang thắc mắc. What bothers you? You don't understand. Why is that? What does he mean by that? câu đó nghĩa là gì? Okay. If it doesn't work, nó không có hiệu quả. Number 3, recite the Dharma, thành tụng. Recite mantra, tụng một cái chú, tụng một cái kinh, recite a sutra. There's some people, by the way, who can memorize the Rasa Sutra. Có những người đã thuộc kinh Kim Cang. People who can recite, who memorize the Shrangama mantra. Có người tụng thuộc được cái chú Lăng Nghiêm. Okay. You recite those mantras, tụng một cái thần chú, tụng một cái kinh. The power of the sutra, the power of mantra will help you overcome the drowsiness. Thành cái thần lực của cái kinh đó, thần lực của cái thần chú đó, nó giúp quý vị hết buồn ngủ. I found that, for example, early on, I found that every time I have leg pain, lúc đầu thầy tu đó, luyện thiền đó, mỗi lần mà chân nó đau đó, I would recite the Shranga mantra. Thầy chỉ tụng chú Lăng Nghiêm, and the pain goes away. Quên đau luôn, forget about the pain. So 1 hour I recite the Shranga mantra 4 times. Sau một giờ thầy tụng chú Lăng Nghiêm 4 lần. Một biến là 15 phút. It used to take me 15 minutes when I first learned it. 15 minutes to recite it once. So for 1 hour, for me to sit 1 hour, I recite it 4 times. That's it. Thầy chỉ cần tụng 4 lần là xong 1 giờ, là không có đau gì hết. No pain. Không biết đau luôn. Have you tried? Anyone tried that? Có ai thử chưa? Oh, see, try it. It really works. Okay? Hiệu quả lắm. Năm 98, if it still doesn't work, nếu mà không có hiệu quả đó, then pull your earlobes, kéo cái lỗ tai. Okay? Rub your limbs with your hands. With your hand. Xoa tay, xoa chân, xoa tay, xoa chân. Oh yeah, you know, have you done it? Khi làm cái kéo từ lỗ tai qua, nó nóng cái mặt ngay lập tức. It brings heat to your head immediately. See that? Nó nóng ngay lập tức, người nó nóng. Xoa là người nó tỉnh là ngay. You rub your hands and rub your feet. Đức Phật thấy quý vị thấy Đức Phật dạy dễ sợ. How beautiful how wise the Buddha is. Cái gì Phật cũng biết hết đó. He knows all these tricks. Okay? Như vậy sẽ bớt buồn ngủ. Then you'll be less sleepy. Now, 5 năm rồi thầy đâu có dạy cô Quảng Ngân cái chuyện này đâu. I've been observing Ngồi Yin doze off for 5 chantis now, 5 years now. Mà không dạy. Now, she has no more excuse. Bây giờ cô Quảng Ngân không còn cái lý do nào buồn ngủ nữa. Yeah. Bây giờ sợ rồi, mặt tái. Thầy không biết cái đau đó là cái số mấy hả? I don't. She says when she said it was so painful she couldn't even sleep. But when after the pain goes away, that's when she couldn't stay awake. So I don't know where pain comes in. Okay. Anyway, number 5. Thứ 5. If you still sleepy, nếu vẫn còn buồn ngủ, okay, get up, đứng dậy. Okay. Wash your eyes with water, rửa mắt. Okay. Look around in all directions towards the stars. Okay. Then maybe you will see, now she's sleeping already. Thành như vậy có thể bớt buồn ngủ là sao? Mình đứng dậy, mình rửa mặt, mình nhìn đến quả trời, mình quán quả trời, sẽ hết buồn ngủ. Quý vị biết không? Những người, you know, those you left home people get up in the morning too early in the morning, quý vị dậy sáng sớm á, okay, khó dậy không được á. What happens is as soon at 3:30, 3 giờ rưỡi sáng, và biết mình 4 giờ phải tới làm công phu here rồi, mình không muốn ra khỏi giường. We don't feel like getting up from bed, getting out of bed. Okay? All you have to do is get up. Quý vị chỉ cần đứng dậy thôi. Đi rửa mặt. Xong ra ngắm trời. Okay? And you wash your face, go out, look at the skies. No more drowsiness. Yes, it's amazing. What I do is get up and go to the bathroom. Chỉ cần đi dậy, đứng dậy, xong rồi đi tới phòng tắm, xong rửa mặt, that's all. Là nó tỉnh rồi anh. You become awake. Nó là như vậy đấy. It's so beautiful. Okay? Number 6, check this out. You still drowsy and you give attention to light perception of day, or during the day there's something like that. So thành ra ban ngày thì quán cái ánh sáng, nhìn cái ánh sáng, ban đêm thì nhìn ban đêm thì nhìn ánh sáng, ban ngày thì nhìn ban đêm, nhìn những cái tối. Okay, để cho nó đổi. So you force changes in your eyesight perception. Con mắt mình nó đổi. Okay, it has an effect on waking you up. Con mắt mình nhìn đen từ sáng tới tối, tối tới sáng đó, thì nó khiến mình cái óc mình nó tỉnh lại. Okay? So far so good. I need to wrap it up. 99. And if it doesn't work, then walk. Nếu mà nó không hết á, thì đi bộ, đi lui đi tới. Okay, if it doesn't work, then lie down like a lion-like on your right side, foot on foot, and think about getting up. Okay? And then you quickly get up and say, I should not indulge in comfort of resting and reclining in the pleasure of sleeping. Mình nằm như vậy thôi, mình ngồi tức là mình muốn buồn ngủ, tức thì bực tức mình bắt đầu mình bực dậy, nó không được, mình không thể lười như vậy. Tại sao mình lười như vậy? Why? How can I be so lazy? Okay? So far so good. When you practice, if you do nothing, you sit all day, you become sleepy. This is very applicable when you do chanchis and you do the cultivation practice retreats. You become drowsy. Okay, this is how you fight drowsiness. Cái gì lúc mà tu luyện trong mấy cái khóa thất này nọ đó, thì cái dùng những pháp này để mà tu. Okay, you should apply these eight different things. Okay. All right, any questions? Ai thắc mắc gì không? Yes. Yeah, okay, continue. Oh, it's a habit I have. Nó hỏi là nhiều khi ngồi thiền mà cảm thấy sung sức quá, thành không buồn ngủ luôn nữa. Mình đừng nói chuyện buồn ngủ, mà người ta hỏi mấy câu không buồn ngủ. I'm talking about drowsiness. He says, I'm not been drowsy at all. It's, how am I going to answer that in 30 seconds? Làm sao trả lời được 30 giây xong bây giờ? Okay. My answer is, I wish I had your problem. Thầy trả lời, thầy phải chi mà thầy có cái khó khăn như vậy. Okay. It's natural. When your chi is so strong, you don't feel sleepy. Bởi vì lúc mà cái khí nó thốc á, nó chạy ào ào á, không có buồn ngủ đâu. Mà không ngủ không có hại. And when your chi is like that, you don't sleep, it's no harm at all. Okay? All right, we stop here. Thank you for coming. Ngừng lại ở đây. We need to dedicate for the rebirth, do the rebirth dedication. Mình phải hồi hướng công đức giúp cái sư cô này vãng sanh. Okay? Take the handbook, the Pure Land handbook to page 38. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. This is the first night of the instructional talks for the Chan Chi. We are going to be here together for 10 weeks. That's a lot. Okay, so brace yourself. The way that the Chinese Chan traditionally does it is to grind it out 24 hours a day. Okay, and that's the goal, is to grind it out. Okay, and it worked for them very, very well. Okay. For us, it doesn't quite work because this is new technology to the United States. Therefore, for us here locals, the concept of spending more than 2 months of your life doing nothing is revolting. Okay, so un-American. Okay, we have no time to waste. So that's why it's a struggle for us, for the Chan Chi to really take hold in America. Only a handful of people would be willing to take it. And I doubt that anyone would have the time to spend like 10 weeks on a Chan Chi. Okay. I love it to do 100 days as in the Chinese tradition. Okay, and that would be wonderful. But I feel that in the future, it would happen in a more like a place more secluded where I don't need to be there. Okay. Because you have me cooped up for 100 days, I go crazy. The design of the 100 days Chan is grinding it out. Okay? You grind it out because what's the difference? You separate yourself from the world. So you don't worry, you don't watch TV, you don't worry, you don't reach the news, you don't worry about elections. You don't worry about lottery. You know, it's $2 billion right now. I don't know where I am today, but I'm thinking about lottery. You see, that's how distracted I am. And somebody just gave me this thing here, you know, as a gift. And I said, what's so special about it? He said, look at the number. I said, it says 1. He says, no, the other one. I said, which one? That's the only one that matters, is the 1 to me. And she says, it's the 88888. It's the only one that has all the 8s. For the Chinese, it's very lucky number.
So I don't know what you're going to do tonight, but after the lecture, I'm going to go visit a 7-Eleven or a liquor store and get a lottery ticket. This is a reminder for me. Maybe 2. 3? No, 2. I rest my case because you're in civilization, you get all sorts of distractions. So that's why 100-day chants, as I remember, like I went to Hong Kong, to Master Sheng Yi's temple, Baolin, at Lantau Island, and they have 100 days chant there, and they have a dedicated group there where the whole temple participated, and basically no outsiders. I was there for 1 or 2 days and I left. Basically, it designed for outsiders for 1 or 2 days, or a few days, and very short duration. For them, professionals, they were there for 100 days and very happy. So it's kind of a cool tradition. So I see why it happens, because you need to have these people dedicating themselves to the practice and segregate from the worldly concerns and so forth. And that's what it's about. So in the future, we probably have to do that, okay, eventually, when we have a way place where we can be away from civilization, like in the mountains or so forth, then it's appropriate. But for us, meanwhile, we have to be content with this. And therefore, I had to devise with a different way, different expedient to help you make progress without having to do it the Chinese style, where basically the Chan Qi for them is to grind it out. Okay? So it's a grinding process, and it brings you to this point. The way you grind it all 24 hours a day, because you don't have time to rest. You rest 2-3 hours at night, that's it. Okay, and that process tires you out and makes you stop thinking. Okay, when you're tired, your thinking mind will come to an end, because the thinking mind is a drain of your energy and you don't realize it. So that's why it's very important for them, for these types of events, to be separated from civilization. Because civilization is a constant reminder for you to think, to process, and to worry about survival, okay, and success and so forth, okay, worldly success. And you need to separate from that so that you will stop these types of worldly concerns, which will enable you to stop thinking, stop processing. Okay? So even though we don't have that kind of environment, but you need to understand it. All this, okay, whether we do it in a grinding way, the Chinese style, or right here, remember the purpose is for you to stop thinking. Whether you do any form of chant practice, doesn't matter. You have to stop thinking, okay? Stop processing. And that is in everything you do. Whether you eating, whether you're walking, whether you're going to the bathroom, you have to stop thinking. Okay. It's easier said than done, because you don't know how to stop thinking. Okay? And so keep that in mind, number one. Number two is that because we don't have the environment, so we make up for it by putting more emphasis on the instructions. Okay? And the question and answers. Because these types of events at the traditional style, they grind it out. so that the instructions don't really matter at all for them, don't really make much difference. I was at my master's temples. I was there for 4.5 years, and I listened to his instructional talks every night as well as the traditional way I learned. And so we spent an hour listening to translation, and basically it didn't do much for me. Okay? Because, why not? Because you don't have a chance to ask questions. When we ask questions, they couldn't give us answers. For example, Master Shrihan talked about something right here, which we'll go into very quickly. Don't worry, I'm not going to waste your time. Okay? I know some of you will say, come on, let's get to the real instructions, man. Okay, but so we're going there. Don't worry. Okay, so I listened to it, and you have all these things we talked about. And said, and questions naturally arose in my mind. Say, okay, and I asked those questions, and we were given 5 minutes at the end of the lecture, in the talk, to ask questions. With translation, it makes 2.5 minutes. Okay. So we weren't able to get a lot of answers, and to me, being a thinking person, I lost interest. There's no point in thinking or asking questions or trying to understand what this is about. So the difference is that for us is that you are able to ask questions. I can ask questions and try to answer myself because I wanted to ask so many questions back then. And I stopped myself because what's the point? It's futile pursuit to ask questions when you only embarrass the people who put on this event. So we stopped. So it's very, very important for you to be able, with the difference that you can ask questions. I encourage you to ask questions always. Okay, about anything, okay? Yeah, because if you have questions you don't dare ask, or you don't get answers to them, it will make your mind turn in the background, and therefore you cannot stop thinking, you see? And little things like that makes a difference. Because then you walk and you say, why is it this way? Okay? And so feel free to ask questions, number one, and we try the answers. I'll give you answers as much as we can. That's very important, okay? Because I don't know about you, I'm a very curious person. If you ever have questions that I cannot get answers, I said, then why can't you answer me? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing the Chinese way? We are in the U.S., what is your? I have so many whys in my mind. After a while, I said, okay, I gave up. Okay, so feel free to ask questions, okay, about anything at all, and also this much more important point. That is, if you practice vigorously, like you're supposed to, during these Qis, something's going to happen. Most of you will have issues. For example, I'm told tonight that the Xianxin's class, new Chinese people, that her online class, new people, new students, okay, and in very short order, quite a few of them started shaking. Am I correct? That's what you heard. That's what I'm hearing from you too. Rumor has it, your students started shaking. Okay, now shaking for most people who practice meditation is a very scary thing for the instructors. We don't know what to do. When I started shaking years ago, I asked, and all my master's disciples could not give me an answer. It's kind of weird. Why are you so weird? Why do you have to shake? We don't shake. Yeah. So my point is that, again, I asked and asked and no one could give me an answer. So I basically gave up. So I said, either I continue blindly or I quit. Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I couldn't quit. I didn't like being a loser. Yeah. So I had to continue blindly, and I lucked out. Eventually resolved it, and finally understood why people shake. Okay, but typically now, especially the Koreans and the Chinese now and so forth, they shake a lot. A lot of them shake, and that's a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. The proof is that if you let them shake like that, at the end of the sit, something good happens. That is, the heads clear up. Isn't that what meditation's about? It's supposed to clear your head of all thoughts. The head should have fewer thoughts, you see? So it works. So that's why you should continue, even if you shake. That's my proof. Okay? And yet, it's so simple things, and yet people don't understand. And that's why typically when you meditate, you're going to have these issues, these problems. And that's when you need to ask questions. That's when you need some guidance to help save time and make sure that you're on the right track. Okay? Invariably, my experience the last 16 years of teaching Chan to people of different kinds of levels, to very low to very, very high, is that with the instructions, it helps speed up your progress. So that's the difference between us and the traditional Chinese style. In Chinese style, they have certain procedures where you stick to. That's fine, and it worked. Okay, if you have no real instructions. So it's a longer grind, it takes a lot longer. I met quite a few people when I first started who proudly said, I've been going to China, this is a long time ago, I go to China for 20 years now, religiously every single year. I stay in China for up to 8 months in these great Chan monasteries. 1,000 years, 2,000 years history. And they're very proud. They say, this is what I do. I am a hardcore cultivator. Okay, I'm here. Okay, only temporarily. And then the phone rang. And he said, excuse me. Say, this is monk now. Excuse me, because I used to know, he used to be the CTTB, Seated 10,000 Buddhas. He was a lay person there. He tried to live the home life and said, you're not good enough. Okay, so he went to Master Sheng Yi, okay, in Hong Kong and so forth, and that's how we connected. Anyway, so he said, excuse me, I take this phone call. It comes from one of his supporters, a doctor, Chinese doctor, who's supporting his cultivation. See the problem? If your cultivation depends on someone else that you feel obligated to, you are in big trouble. Just imagine that you're in China, in the midst of the Chan Qi there, and your doctor supporter or lawyer supporter or patron calls and said, my daughter is sick with COVID-19. I don't know what to do. My wife is worried sick. Huh? What are you going to do? That's why this guy here has been going to China and practiced for 20 years religiously and very proudly. He's a very devoted Chan practitioner. 20 years. How impressive it is. 8 months, he says. Typically, I go there for 8 months, he says. I was so impressed. I said, wow, I wish I had your blessings. How do you find your supporters? I said, oh, I don't know. Word spread around. And now looking back, I said, 20 years? Why your level is so low? We Americans would not put up with that. You know, if I'm an American supporter, if I'm an American doctor who supports your Chan practice, I demand results. You know what I mean? Which brings up another anecdote. There's a Chinese Chan master who practiced very seriously, very vigorously. So a Chinese lady decided to say, you come to my house. I give you my in-laws' quarters in the back. You stay there, I give you food, I give you everything you need. All you have to do is meditate. So after a long, long time, he says, can I talk to you? Okay, he says, sure. So he says, okay, let's have a, can I, and she's Chinese, but she's very polite. She says, I need to make an appointment to see you. He says, okay, yes. He said, okay, how about tomorrow? I said, yes. Okay, so that night, she sent her daughter over to bring food to him, probably the first time. And after the daughter, I don't remember the exact details, but the daughter, after she brought the food, and she came to him and says, thank you, and she hugged him. And she left. And so next day, the lady came to see him, and they said, so what do you think? What have you learned? All these past 10 years I've been supporting your practice. He says, well, I'm not sure what I learned. But last night, when your daughter came and gave me the food, brought me the food, and he ate dinner. You realize that? Anyway. You practice meditation, you don't need to eat dinner. What are you talking about? Well, anyway, it's just me. I just have no directions, and that's why they like Master Shehan says, you make a step forward and you take 2 steps back. Okay. So anyway, so he says, your daughter gave me food, and then she gave me a hug. He says, and he says, it's as for me, it's as if nothing happened. She looked at him and said, I've been supporting you for 10 years, that's all you got? And eventually, he continued to practice. She said, okay, I give you another chance, basically, Chinese style, Chinese way. American, I give you another chance. Chinese said, continue to practice, okay? And then she saw him again and sent her daughter again. And again, he failed the test. And basically, she says, get out of here. I'm not going to support a loser. So my point is that it's especially in America, when people support you, you need to show some results. Okay, and so that's why I have this guy here after 20 years, and the Chinese nowadays in the Dharma ending age, the Dharma protectors just are so happy to hear that you are cultivating. Okay, you're devoting your life to cultivation. They don't even ask for results. Okay, yeah. But anyway, 20 years of support, and he really got so little to show for, which is pitiful. So my point here is that you can grind it out, but it is much more efficient to get guidance. Okay, grinding out works for a very limited number of people, superior people like Master Xu Yun, who could grind it out his entire career. Okay, that's how he got there, albeit not as high as he could have if he had some better directions. Okay. Anyway, that's why we're learning. We make sure that we learn from the great teacher. Don't waste time. I'm trying to remind you not to waste time. Listen to the lesser instructions. Master Hsuan to me is the best I've seen. Okay, in this Dharma ending age, bar none. So it may sound simple, but actually it's very, very, very good instructions. So that's why we're studying his teachings and we listen to it, and we'll plant the seeds for great enlightenment for you. Okay, I hope. Okay, so here we are continuing with from the last where we're picking it up where we left off, the last Chanchi, some sort of Indian master here who came to China to propagate the Dharma, and circumstances have made him stay in the mountains and to cultivate. That's what we have a choice to do. See, if we are cultivators and people who don't support us, Master Hsuan would say, if no one supports me, I starve to death. So be it. It's not my fault. When I cultivate, the Dharma protectors are supposed to step up. If they don't, it's their fault. It's not my fault that I die of starvation, that I die from hunger, if I die from poverty, if I die from the cold. It's your fault. You're supposed to protect us. You're supposed to support our cultivation. You don't, it's your fault. Okay? So for a person like Master Hsuan, he says, okay, I die, so be it. But so that's why we have the option. We can simply go to the mountain and practice in the mountain. We don't need to pay rent. You don't need to pay for water, electricity, toilet, sewage, and so forth. Okay, so that's what this Indian monk did. He went to the mountain and practiced, and then he tamed some sort of tiger. Okay, and the wild beasts in the jungle, in the mountain. So he tamed some sort of tiger. Some tiger came and took a cane and tapped the cane on the tiger's head. There's a prior part. I read the prior part a little bit, a few slides before, and spoke Dharma for him. Can you imagine you take a stick and you point it to a tiger and tiger would not attack you? It's cool. Huh? It's impressive. I take a stick and I point it towards Xian Shun. She would run away or either attack me, you know. But the tiger, he would stand there and listen to the bull-headed guy speak something to him. Okay, it's kind of weird. It's kind of a very cool state. So you know this monk is unusual. He's no ordinary monk. If you take a cane and tap it on my head, I get very upset. Okay, So you can imagine how the tiger would feel. And then the tiger, after he listened to Dharma, he went away, never bothered him again. And he spoke Dharma for the tiger. I don't know, maybe tiger language, could be. And after that, he stopped eating people. Are we there yet? We start on slide 5. Oh, okay. Continue.
游过这么几次啊，那么以后这个人呢，再见到这个山上的老虎啊，他也不咬人了。
After a few times, when this person sees the tiger in this mountain again, it stopped biting people.
在这个山上他住了大约有1-2年。
On this mountain, he, Dharma Master Gunavarman, lived there for another year or 2.
以后啊，这个宋文帝一定啊要请他到南京去。到南京啊，那个地方住，他就去了。
Later, Emperor Wen of the Song dynasty insisted on inviting him to Nanjing. He invited him to live in Nanjing, so he went there.
See, this is a difference of the times. Okay, back then, the emperors, our leaders, have blessings. And that's why they appreciated the Buddha Dharma. They appreciated, they understood the importance of spirituality. Nowadays, you don't have such leaders anymore. Back then the emperors would sponsor the monks and build temples and so forth. Nowadays, they don't. Nowadays, it's tax breaks. It's all money driven and votes driven. Okay? And that makes it much more difficult for people to cultivate. And so the emperor heard of him, and so you understand the mindset of such an emperor. He says, I'm looking for virtuous people. And I heard this virtuous person, let's invite him. Okay? And so that we can benefit from his wisdom, from his insights. So that's why he invited the Indian monk to move to the capital city.
去了，这个宋文帝呀，就对他讲：“我现在呀做皇帝，本来我也想吃斋。”
He went there. Emperor Wen of Song said to him, I am now the emperor. Originally, I wanted to be a vegetarian.
但是在我这个环境之下，也不可能，这个情形呢，很复杂，不许可我吃斋，这怎么办呢？
But in my environment, it's not possible. My situation is very complicated. It doesn't allow me to be a vegetarian. What shall I do?
Okay, now, one thing that you need to be aware of, we talk about how the Chinese emperors used to honor the monks of virtues, wisdom, and that's the tradition they set for their own, not the country alone, but what they did for those great emperors, they taught their own children the importance of seeking out the wise teachers, okay, and seeking out the Dharma, because you look at the Dharma as a treasure, as a real asset to the country. So far, so good. Those are the blessings from the emperor and blessings from the people. Now it's not the case anymore, so we need to be aware of that. And now, at a smaller scale, we're not talking about the emperor of the nation. I'm talking about the emperor of the household. That lady, that man there. Okay? You listen to this, and you should also look at yourself, that you are in position of influence. You have the foresight, and you can make a difference to your family. So back then, the people had the blessings. That's why they had a good emperor who would stir them in the right direction. Okay? It's not just the emperor's blessing alone, but also the subject. They have blessings, they have virtues. But now, we don't have it. Because, let's not go into politics, okay, Chan Phong? He's going to get all upset again. But you are the emperor of your family. Keep that in mind. You make a huge difference, can make a huge difference in your own children's life, your family's life. That's it. That's all you can do right now. Don't forget it. Okay? Yeah. Continue. So the emperor here, he said, all of a sudden he says, I want to be vegetarian, but I can't. It's too complicated. It's not as simple as it sounds. What do? There is beluga, caviar, there is champagne, and there is excellent French food. Yeah, but not enough. Okay, continue.
他就对这个宋文帝说是皇帝的修行和老百姓的修行是不同的。老百姓呢，
He told the Emperor Wen of Song, an emperor's cultivation differs from a commoner's cultivation. A commoner
这个宋文帝要受五戒，要吃斋，不吃肉。
The Emperor Wen of Song wanted to receive the 5 precepts, be a vegetarian and not eat meat.
这个就这功德凯法师说，你做皇帝的修行和老百姓的。
So he begged Dharma Master Gong De Kai. Gong De Kai said, your cultivation as the emperor versus that of a commoner.
老百姓呢，他没有什么威德，他不能做什么好事。
A commoner doesn't have much awesome virtue. He can't do many good deeds.
你这个做皇帝的不需要你自己一定吃斋，你只要做令这个一切的老百姓得到好处。
As the emperor, you yourself don't have to be a vegetarian. You just need to do things that benefit all citizens.
你做种种的好事，这就是修行。这个功德开法师对这个宋文帝说是啊，
You do all kinds of good deeds, that's cultivation. Dharma Master Gondakai told Emperor Wen of Song, that is to say,
譬如你发政思人，请做这个好的政策。
for example, you can decree a policy of benevolence and only do this good policy.
你命令啊，这个老百姓啊，他们少杀生，这就是啊，救了很多的生命。
If you order the citizens to kill less, this action will save many lives.
不是说呀，在你这吃一顿饭啊，不吃一个众生，这就算了功德。你要能叫老百姓
It's not saying that you eating a meal without eating a living being counts towards merit and virtue.
不杀生，只要无形中啊，你就是吃它。
If you can teach all commoners not to kill, then imperceptibly you are eating vegetarian.
你叫老百姓的孝顺父母，这也就是你孝顺父母。
If you teach all commoners to be filial towards their parents, it's like you are filial to your parents.
你令老百姓的改恶向善，这也就是你自己修行。
If you order all commoners to change from evil to good, this is your cultivation as well.
所以你不必呀，说我少吃一点肉，或者少喝一点酒，这就是修行。你
So you don't have to say, I will eat less meat or drink less alcohol. This is cultivation.
做皇帝呀，你只要能令老百姓都诸恶不作，众善奉行，这就是你自己修行。
As an emperor, as long as you can order the commoners to refrain from doing all evil and doing all good, then this is your own cultivation.
这宋文帝听功德开法师说完之后，他说
Once Emperor Wen of Song heard Dharma Master Gongda Kai's words, he sighed.
这个一般的沙门呢，他们都迷远；一般的儒者，他们都迷近。
Ordinary Sramanas are all infatuated with conditions. Ordinary Confucians are all infatuated with sutras or scriptures.
Okay, just for clarity, change infatuated are all confused about conditions. It's not infatuated. confused about conditions. And because I want you to listen to this and understand what he's trying to say, and then we'll discuss it later, okay? So if we let you, we allow you to be confused by this, confused by sutras, it's not infatuated. They're confused. They don't understand. That's what Gung Te Kai was telling the emperor. Continue.
Ah. 迷缘呢，就是讲这个因果循环报应不爽。
Being confused about conditions is to discuss the cycle of cause and effect, i.e., retribution will not fail.
Change it. Okay, very good. Continue.
迷境呢，就执照这个文章或者这个典籍也是书所有的一切就是经书之类。
Being confused about sutras, scriptures, is an attachment to articles and classical literature, i.e., books, all kinds of sutra books and such.
今天我和法师你这一个谈论呢，这真可以了然天人的大道。
From today's discussion with the Master, it really gave me a clearer understanding of the great Tao of heaven and human beings.
Yeah, don't do Tao. Tao is there. Tao, it uses a D. Yeah. It's
天人这种关系于是乎就给这位法师造了一个齐桓寺。
The relationship between heaven and human beings. As a result, he built Qi Huan Temple for the Master.
okay. Stop.
这齐桓
Okay. Questions, comments. You have no questions? Seriously? Back there.
Master, so back to the slide.
Which slide?
19 and 20 is that if you were to teach other people not to kill, become vegetarian, or be filial to your parents, you don't have to be filial, then you already become filial and become vegetarian. So does that mean that I teach other people how to cultivate, I don't cultivate, and I'll become enlightened?
Yeah, basically he's saying that if you teach other people to cultivate, you don't have to cultivate. That's what it sounds like to me as a Westerner, educated person. Huh?
I think only if you're an emperor.
Only if an emperor.
Yeah.
But I'm an emperor in my family. I
But
teach my
he's
family.
talking to an emperor.
I'm emperor in my family. I'm sorry, ma'am. You may not think so, but I'm an emperor in my family.
the Chinese it says all commoners. 你教老百姓都孝顺父母。
Yeah.
老百姓
Lao Bai Xing is my family.
No, it's not.
No, you don't get it. There is a sphere influence. Emperor is big. I have an influence on my family.
I think the number counts. The number of people counts from this context when I read it in Chinese.
No, it doesn't. Your number is too small. Lao Bai Xing is too small. It should be 千百姓, 1百姓, 1百姓. Yes, there's a question there in the back. No? Okay, no questions, no comments. 7.
Oh, thank you, Master. The one part where it says about the focusing too much on causes and conditions, causes and effect, isn't that like the Pratyeka Buddha method of reaching like Pratyeka Buddhism? To focus on cause and effect? Why is it not good?
Yeah, it matters. What are you talking about, you sacrilegious person? Cause effect is a universal rule. How dare you question cause and effect? Yes, 4.
Master, I sort of agree with Wenbo Shenxing. When Heng says it is a few people that he's going to affect, when the emperor says it, he's affecting his whole, the whole kingdom, all his people. When Master says it, you're affecting all your disciples. That's a lot of people. But when Heng says it, it's only a few people. So it doesn't have the same meaning.
Go ahead,
Master, so if Donald Trump tell you to cultivate, meaning that he's become enlightened?
Okay, so the Chinese are disagreeing with the Vietnamese. Yes, what do the non-Asian think? 7.
Thank you, Master. You know, when I hear do the best with what you have. And when they say that the emperor has awesome virtue, that it's the same type of thing you were saying before with the vows to save all living beings, that this is an instance in which you take on the mind of an emperor to make a great decision to help as many people as possible. And every person that you do help is an example of an awesome virtue.
Okay. Makes sense to me. Anyone else has any problems? Yes, number 4.
From Jane, 区名, 百姓 means 100 surnames. 老百姓区名 his people.
Okay. Same thing. I stand my ground. He has his people. I have my own family. Okay. Anyone else? Diego, he says, I'm so tired. I have no energy. Can I just rest? Okay. Anyone else? No one is curious? Huh? Okay. Let's shelve it for... Yeah, 6?
Master, I was wondering, does that mean that, let's say we have children and grandchildren and somehow we're able to influence them or help them in their practice, that then we receive blessings?
Yeah, that's what the Gung Te Kai, Indian monk, was saying. You don't have to do it. You just have to put more emphasis on teaching others how to do it. Similarly, like I say, I'm too old, I'm too busy, so you do it. You become enlightened. Then I also become enlightened. That's my cultivation. No, you disagree, a Chinese person? A Taiwanese person? 5.
I think that's taking too much liberty out of this context. He didn't say enlightened. He says he'll have great merit and virtues.
You accuse me of taking liberties now? It's getting personal. Wait a minute. I'm just an emperor of my household, my temple. Can I just be an emperor of my temple? It's not taking liberties.
He didn't mention the word enlightened in this context.
It's cultivation. What's the point in cultivating? You're taking things literally. When we say cultivation, the Chinese say, you Chinese people say cultivation. What does it mean? To become enlightened. Yes, ma'am. I will speak for you.
Yes, Master.
You may disagree, but when we say xiu xing, the Chinese say xiu xing, cultivate, it's for purpose, but it's implied. When they say cultivate, is to become enlightened. But the Chinese culture is very subtle. They're not as explicit as us. We are crude. They say, hey, what's cultivation? What for? I say, hey, don't you get it? Oh, you're not Chinese. Oh, by the way. So for the Americans, they say we cultivate to become enlightened. But for the Chinese language, cultivate means enlightened, to become enlightened. That's implied. Yes? So what he said is not unreasonable. Go ahead, Q&A. What a lively discussion. I discuss my own subjects. It's okay to disagree. It's okay not to agree. Yes, Q&A.
Phật, thầy con không hiểu, có thể là cái lời chỉ dạy của vị tăng này quá cao siêu, hay là cũng có thể là lời dạy của ngài không có đúng theo con nghĩ. Nó có một trong hai trường hợp đó, nhưng mà thường thì mình phải làm thân giáo, là mình phải làm trước rồi mình nói sau, chứ mình nói cho thiên hạ làm mà mình không làm thì con thấy nó không có được suôn sẻ lắm.
Amitabha, Master, I might not understand the teaching of this highly Sanghan. Maybe because his teaching is too superior, so that it might be right or wrong. So to me personally, I think that you have to shenjiao, like you personally cultivate first before you tell other people to do so.
Yeah, cool technology. You can look at his eyes, his face when he's talking. Way in the back there. I only see like a shadow because the lights are so bright here from where I sit. But now I actually can see his eyes in his glasses. He has no hair. So how cool technology is. Okay, anyone else? It's so cool. Yes. He's right in a sense. Oh, now Diego is woke up. You're a bad role model for Ron. Fourth day, Ron can look, in 4 days I can lie down like him. Yes, go ahead, 3.
Thank you, Master. I think, like for example, in my case that I'm cultivating right now, and my wife, she's taking care of all the things in the house. So I was thinking that she may have a lot of blessings because she's helping me be here. She won't be able to cultivate now, but she's planting the seeds for doing it in the future. So I think that's what happens with the emperor. He's helping all of his subjects. So he's planting the seeds that in a future life he will be able to really cultivate.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Speaking like a smart politician. Anyone else? Isn't it interesting? It makes sense to me. Go ahead, Q&A.
Con nghĩ cái lời khuyên của vị sư người Ấn này đó là nó không có chấp vào tướng. Bởi vì á, khi mà một ông vua mà dùng cái đức trị để cảm hóa muôn dân thì cái đó nó quan trọng hơn là cái chuyện ăn chay hay là ăn mặn. A Di Đà Phật.
Amitabha, I think that the advice from this Indian monk is not to attach to the mark itself, because once you become a king, an emperor, you use your virtue to rule, and cảm hóa is to change, convert, transform 10,000 of your subjects. That is more important than for you to become vegetarian and not drinking wine.
Okay, very good. Sounds good. Yeah, okay. You all make sense from your perspective. Okay, let's talk about, let's discuss it. Let me give you my 2 cents worth. Okay, he says, so the emperor heard of his cultivation, so he says, we could use someone, excuse me, of your wisdom here, so please come to the capital. And he went there. So kudos to the emperor for inviting a person of virtue to the capital to shed lights on his problems and provide new perspectives for the country. Okay, that's so important. And this is a great emperor. This is something that should be encouraged, and it's not happening anymore. Okay, that's the advantage of having the emperor. So in a Chinese system where they have an emperor, and that's why they don't have to worry that much about re-election and or allegation of fraud and so forth. Okay, so there's a real advantage here that they have. That he has. So invited here to go to Nanjing, and he went there, emperor says, I have this burning question. I want to be vegetarian. Okay, but it's too complicated. It's not that simple. I cannot be vegetarian, so how do I become vegetarian? I can't. I try to be vegetarian, but I can't. And what happened is that this is what happens when you as a monk go to the emperor's office. Okay? You now have to talk to the emperor, and you have to give the emperor something that more suitable for him, for the emperor. So he says, you're not a commoner, so you're different. Okay? My point here is that, to me, from a purist perspective, this is compromising. Be careful now. He's going to unravel a little bit later. He's compromising himself. He says, I cultivate, but my cultivation is different from yours. Therefore, I excuse you from being vegetarian. I can be vegetarian, others can be vegetarian, but you can be excused. Okay? That is a compromise that usually occurs because you're under pressure. You're given all these honors, all the attention, the promise of support. You don't have to go back to the mountain anymore. And so it's tempting for you as a monk. Sangwok is laughing now. He says, okay? If You go to the, you go and there, this great things you can get. Warmth, food, water, sewage, toilets, nice bathrooms for us Americans, okay? Okay, insulation, a roof over your head. You don't have to walk in the rain anymore. And you don't have to go down to the river and fetch water anymore. You have running water. So you have different frame of perspectives all of a sudden. And therefore, you speak differently. And this is what he says. You are different. I understand. To me, this is sort of like parallel, the parallel worlds. Okay? I cultivate, we cultivate, but you don't have to. But your cultivation is different. Why does it have to be different? Are you kidding me? So you're exempt from the commoner's cultivation? So, since when is Buddhism discriminatory? He says, I teach you differently from the next person. Because you're different, because you're better, because you are higher status. That's what you run the risk of making your Dharma look like. You have a Dharma that serves the emperor and make it more convenient for him when the commoners still have to suffer. That Dharma is fine. Okay? Okay? But it's not pure Mahayana. I doubt that Master Shua would say that. I doubt it very much. He's dead already, so I can't confirm it. Yes, 8.
Is it Phật thầy con không understand that why the emperor cannot be vegetarian? I think.
Well, it doesn't matter. The reason is that he says, I can't. It's too complicated. It's too very difficult for me. And the guy immediately says, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Don't worry. You're exempt. And here's how you can be exempted.
Sound like
You don't need to know the details, but the point is that he's too quick at jumping to the rescue the emperor. That's my problem. Yes, 4.
From Brady, changing food habits to vegetarian is a method of achieving the greatest good to the greatest many.
Come again?
Changing food habits to vegetarian is a method of achieving the greatest good to the greatest many.
Yes, true. Continue.
From Zhihong, in Chinese, we also say 上行下效, which means what is done at the top, those below will follow suit. That is also how the awesome virtue is manifested, another way of teaching.
Absolutely. Buddhism is to teach by example. You cannot say, you should be vegetarian, but I, as an emperor, don't have to be vegetarian because I have state duties. I need to drink with the other emperors. It's necessary for me to force a strong relationship with other emperors because I need to drink with them, I need to go hunting with them, I need to go eat meat with them, lobsters with them, steak and so forth. When you're not enlightened, like the emperor clearly wasn't, you cannot have exemptions like this. That's not the middle way. All of a sudden, the emperor, the Japanese emperor, for example, this is what happened in Japanese Buddhism. What happened is the monks came and taught them, and then or the Japanese monks came to China and learned a lot from a great Chinese teacher. They brought it back and said, I'm going to bring back this great teaching here to my country in Japan. Came back. Emperor called in and said, oh, wonderful, you back. Okay, and exactly what happened here. Same thing happened in Japan. He says, Buddhism is giving exemptions to the Japanese emperor. You don't have to be vegetarian. You can kill. And that's why the shogun would at night read the Buddha Sutra, and in the morning and say, go kill. Because they're exempt. So now, Buddhism in Japan serves the emperor, serves the royalty first, not the whole nation. Because they thinking is that you serve the emperor, therefore you serve the nation. So there are double standards in Buddhism. It's no longer Buddhism, you have double standards for confused people. Confused people are confused people, whether you're an emperor or not, you're still confused. Therefore, you must be taught how to remove your confusion. You don't, you will destroy Buddhism. That's what happened in Japan. Buddhism in Japan is personally weird. The double standards for confused people. The emperor's confused, but no, since you're emperor, therefore you're exempt. All these things, therefore you never become enlightened. If you never become enlightened, how are you going to be able to sponsor Buddhism in a proper way? If I allow a Chinese doctor who sponsors me to tell me what to do, or influence my actions, how can I cultivate? I'm asking you. It's a very fundamental question. If I need to answer to you. I need to answer someone who pays for my bills. That's bound to happen. Yes? This is why the Chinese Chan masters would not go to the capital city upon the emperor's invitation. They say, hey, it's not going to work for me. I can't teach you. You're looking for a dharma from me to suit your needs as an emperor, not as a confused emperor. You see the angle here is that he's confused emperor. And this guy here is giving him exemptions for an enlightened emperor. You understand? You're an enlightened emperor, you don't have to be vegetarian. You can eat anything you want. I can't care less. But if you're confused and you want to become enlightened, become a better emperor, you better be vegetarian. Is it clear? That's why this kind of brand of Buddhism cannot go very far with the emperor, with the country. It didn't last. I don't have any writing or any things from this Gunther Kai, Indian guy. If he has it, I would throw in a trash can myself. This kind of Buddhism serves the emperor's needs to help him remain confused. How can he be a better emperor if he's allowed to remain confused? This is not a popularity contest. It's not because we need to say something to make the president happy or the emperor happy or the party secretary happy, whatever, okay? It's about what we tell you to help you remove your confusion. That's our jobs. Not to perpetuate your confusion. Because this guy, the emperor, started with a good intention. He says, I want to remove my confusion. I feel that being vegetarian is a good thing for me to get started. Instead of encouraging it, he says, no, you can be exempted. That's what you say to emperors, to please them. You're special, you're exempt from this. You're not as confused, you know? Your confusion will go away eventually. It's a sales pitch. This is what this guy is doing to the emperor. That's why the emperor, what? So happy, he says, I will build temples for you. I will sponsor a lot of monks and nuns. And the guy went away and said, see, I helped Buddhism become stronger in China. My mission accomplished. Better in the back. Mission accomplished. I built temples. I have monks and nuns studying Buddhism. Resounding success. Can the monks and nuns who depend on such money, such temples, become enlightened, you think? Have you thought about it? Huh? If this temple here, you came to do a chanchi, came about because I stole money from others, I cheated others, okay? In order for the big goal of helping humanity, helping build Buddhism, what are your chances of becoming enlightened if the foundation of your cultivation of this chanchi is based on corruption and thievery and delusion? The food you eat will be tainted. The water you drink. Okay? Yes, 6.
Brady has here, surely you cannot be a confused emperor and really be enlightened, right, Master?
Come again?
Brady McBride has here on YouTube. Surely you cannot be a confused emperor and really be enlightened, right, Master?
Of course not. I feel for this emperor. He started with good intentions. And this guy says, you know what, I have a way, I have an exemption for you. I would throw him out myself. I want no special treatment, you hear? I'm confused. Treat me like a confused person. That's why I ask. It's important because when you come to a temple, okay, you know different with this emperor here. He says, I want to be vegetarian. I want to open my wisdom. I want to cultivate, okay? And because you drive a nice car, and we notice it because you have cameras here in the parking lot. I say, oh, look at that. Who is that? It's Vicky, Lexus, SUV. Okay? So, treat her differently. You know, I remember I was at Blue Mountain Temple. Okay, that tiny, tiny temple over there. It's not even a temple, like 2 houses put together. About the size of 2 houses put together. And Goyin, it's there because Goyin was cooking for us. Okay, back then it was good times back then. Now Goyin doesn't have time for us anymore. So I remember we were very poor, and no one took us seriously, and because the relics came. And so I think it's a Vietnamese gentleman family came to our temple because they heard of the relics. So they asked, can we see the relics? Okay, and whatever. And then after they, were shown relics, okay, and they presented me with a check, okay, $1,500. Okay. Immediately, he wrote a check. Can I make a donation, Master? $1,500. I still remember it. It's a big check for me. And so my point here is that very rarely did I find a first-time visitor give me a check of $1,500. So immediately I said, what kind of car does he drive? So surely enough, it's a Mercedes S-Class. $5 something, it's not even $4. So my point here is that they do things to expect special treatment. So what did I do? I took a check, I put it in my pocket, and it's only later I found out $1,500. I usually take a check and put it in my pocket, okay, to show, oh, thank you. Okay, I don't go like this. Because if I go in like this, I'd be, oh, thank you so much. Okay, so put it like that. And later, that's when I found out the amount. But he was disappointed. It showed in his face. I mean, he said like, is that all? Thank you, that's it? No tea? You're not going to talk to me? Seriously? I just spent $1,500 for nothing? You got my point? This guy expects special treatment, and the monk gave it to him immediately. That's why his Dharma didn't last very long. Because he's serving the elite. Yes, 3.
Thank you, Master. So we can say that he climbed on conditions?
Yes, exactly. That's what Master Shinhua said. Don't climb on conditions. You cultivate. When you're a monk, you better climb on conditions. Because I said, S-Class only? Come on, if you're rich, you come to my temple, at least drive a Bentley. Then I pay attention to you. No one yet. That's why I'm saying Bentley, okay? When the next guy drives in Bentley, I say, only a Bentley? Maybach, man. Anyway, so he says, the emperor wanted 5 priests vegetarian or eat meat, and then Gung Te Kai immediately says, I give you an exemption. You are the exception. Of course, you are the exception. I will exempt you from it. Here's the problem. This is why the virtuous Chan masters refuse to go to the capital city to see the emperor and talk to the emperor. Because you go there, you're bound to do this. If you didn't the emperor would be offended, like what happened to Bodhidharma. Emperor Wu of Liang dynasty didn't hear what he wanted from great master Bodhidharma. And that's why later on, Emperor Wu of the Liang dynasty fell and became a hungry ghost. His mistreatment of Bodhidharma precipitated it. So if you do it wrong, you push them down to fall. And if you do it right, they will be offended and then they will ostracize Buddhism. This is why you're better off not getting near them. And see, clearly Gungta Kai was not enlightened yet. That's why he climbed on conditions immediately. Is that clear? So you understand the difference between you and Gungta Kai. Do you understand? You can be doing a Chan Chi for 20 years, like that Taiwanese monk I met. He says, I go to China for 20 years now, 8 months. Typically, I spend 8 months of the year in China doing the Chan Chi. But if you do that and you don't have the proper foundation, you can't get very far. This is why you should be so grateful. This is why every evening, morning ceremony, evening ceremony, what do we do? Say, do not climb on conditions. Because if you do, you may be practicing for 20 years, okay? But your doctor supporter calls, say, hey, and you climb on conditions, all your merit and virtues are gone. It takes people like Bodhidharma, like Master Shenhua, who decided to make personal sacrifices. Bodhidharma could have a huge series of temples throughout China and spread Buddhism very quickly. All he had to do is be nice to Emperor Wu of Liang dynasty. That's all it took. Why not? He could have done it, but he didn't. Why not? So that he could transmit it to the second Chinese patriarch, the pure Dharma, not a corrupted Dharma that has been contaminated by power, by money, by influence. Because that, whatever he transmitted to second patriarch, Hui Ge, is a pure Dharma. If he had the temples and he gave all those temples to Hui Ge and say, hey, listen, you're my successor and you have all these institutions, all these followers that you can build upon, okay? Chinese Buddhism would not be as strong, as great as it was. Now you understand why every morning, every evening, you recite, okay, what is it, the 3 principles? Huh? I forgot. You better not forget. Hey, retired spy, what are the 3 principles? You better remember.
Mô Phật và Thầy. Mình Quảng Ngân muốn nói thì cũng hơi dài nữa. Giống cái ông sư này đó, ổng mà bây giờ kể về cái ông sư này, ổng ở Ấn Độ, ổng qua mà ổng nói chuyện tiếp xúc với cái ông vua Đế Thích này đó, là ổng cũng có một cái định lực. Rồi cái người ông vua này đó, ông vua Đế Thích này đó, thì ổng cũng có một cái nước của ổng đó, là cái quyền lực của ổng rất là mạnh. Mà ông vua này đó, ông sư này đó, thì ổng mới khuyên ông này, bây giờ ông á, làm tốt, làm cái gì đó là ông miễn phí hết. Là ông vua Đế Thích này, ông nghe ông cũng tung luận theo, thì ông cũng độ được một số người, chứ không phải là không đâu. Mà cái ông sư này đó, ông cũng độ được cái ông vua Đế Thích này nữa. Mà rồi đó còn muốn đi vô sâu thêm nữa đó, thì muốn lên tới đại thừa đó, thì cái đó là thầy để tùy theo cho ông tu thêm một cấp bậc nữa. Thì ngồi nghĩ thầy này, cái ông sư này đó, thì ông cũng có một cái định lực mà để ông độ cái ông vua Đế Thích này. Ông vua Đế Thích này đó, là ông một cái nước đó, là ông cái quyền lực ông rất là mạnh, biết không? Ông muốn người ta sống là sống, muốn người ta chết là chết, muốn làm sao mà ông độ được cái ông này đó, ông khỏi ăn chay, ông miễn phí rồi này kia, là cúng một cái tốt của cho một cái đất nước này. Thì ông sư này ông cũng độ được cái ông vua Đế Thích này những cái giống ngày Hòa Thượng Tuyên Hóa vậy đó. Nói ông Bút đó, cha Bút đó, ông á, bây giờ muốn nghe lời tôi đó, thì ông trong vòng 4 năm cái tiền lương này ông lãnh, mà ông có dám làm không? Ông Bút ông không có dám làm, bởi vì không có dám làm thì sư phụ đó thì cũng không có cho một cái quyền lực, không có cho một cái quyền lực cho ổng để cho ổng thấy. Mô Phật.
Amitabha Master, Boyin would like to say something, but it's kind of long. Just like this monk, he came from India. He met with the emperor and talked to the emperor. That means that he has to have samadhi. This emperor, he has a power over the country, so he's very powerful. So then this monk taught the emperor to do that, and the emperor do as instructed. That means that the emperor actually crossed over many people, not just like that, but if he wanted to go deep into Mahayana, he has to cultivate in a different level. So therefore, I think that the monk can cross over the emperor in that way, must have samadhi, and he also cross over many people in that way. Just like Venerable Xuanhua, he wanted to cross over the Bush father. Master Huat said that if you wanted to continue to become a president, you must not receive for your your wages for 4 years. Therefore, I think Venerable Shenhua wanted to teach the Buddha fathers that way.
Mm-hmm. So that's why it's important for you to appreciate the foresight of Master Shenhua. He says, 动死不攀缘，饿死不化缘，穷死不求人. Got that? That's the spirit. And that's why I commend the second patriarch. That's what he's doing. It got transmitted to the second generation. Because Master Shenhua had to make sacrifices in order for that to happen. Okay. So he says, oh, you exempt, you're not a commoner. You don't have much awesome virtue, or 威德. waiter here is not awesome virtue. Here, waiter here in the sense of you don't have the ability to keep people in awe or your influence, power influence. Okay, but it's okay. You understand the concept here. He says you have a lot of influence. You have a lot of power. Okay, and virtue. Unlike you, commander doesn't have it. You don't have. Therefore, you are exempt. Okay, and here's what happens to a politician, like the emperor says, "Okay, yeah, okay, then I don't have to cultivate. I'm special. There's a way. This Dharma is cool. This Dharma makes exceptions for me, even though I'm, still confused. I'm exempt." I have a problem with that. When I listen to this, I say, "Oh my God, this really hurts." For what? You need to benefit all citizens. And it says all kinds of good deeds. That's cultivation. Okay, and need to do things and benefit citizens. So basically, it says it's practice giving. That's his Dharma door. He says you just practice giving. You don't worry about keeping precepts or take the hard way. Okay, you are exempt from hard work and from making personal sacrifices. You just ask others to make sacrifices. And that's Buddhism for the royalty. You see, sounds familiar? That's what happens in Japan. You can decree policy benevolence, only do policy. You have to tell them to kill less, it will save many lives. You see, of course it's true. And this is a sales pitch from a monk using the Buddhist principles disguised as Buddhist instructions. It's just a sales pitch. This emperor says, "I want to cultivate. I want to be vegetarian. Can you help me?" He says, "No, you don't have to be vegetarian. It's too difficult for you." Well, you know why not? Because you are special. This is what I, as an emperor, hear from what this monk was telling me. I'm special. Continue to be special. So there's a Buddhism for the emperors and a Buddhism for the commoners. Isn't that cool? I stick to the Buddhism for the emperor. You get it now? Disagreeing Taiwanese person? See, so now because you are one, and you only have to worry about yourself, worry about the 老百姓, the 1,000, the 10,000, the 10 million. If you get them to do the good deeds, you don't have to. It's the same as you doing good deeds. Yeah, so wonderful. Buddhism can be so wonderful. Get you to cultivate. I don't have to cultivate because I'm the emperor. So I am the head of family. I don't need to cultivate. You woman, go cultivate. You children, go do Chan Chi and so forth. Okay? And you do become enlightened. I can also become enlightened then. Yes, 7.
Thank you, Master. In other talks that you've given, you've emphasized that for lay people, there must be a middle way. And when I see him talking to the emperor, I think of him as the ultimate lay person. He has to take on the responsibilities of every type of lay life, be it a soldier, a cook, a guest host, everything he must do that a layperson might have to do. And so I see him giving Dharma of, like you said, giving in any way that he can because he's so entrenched in the lay life. What would be his middle way?
What is what?
What would be the emperor's middle way?
Be vegetarian. That's a middle way. The middle way means that when you're not enlightened yet, there's a way for you to become enlightened. After you become enlightened, and then your way is different. So that's why it's very important to differentiate when you are confused. The teachings are designed to help you end your confusion. When you are no longer confused, it's different. Okay? So this emperor is confused, so he can only have to teach the commoners not to kill, and therefore he's being vegetarian. What kind of Buddhism is that? I never heard of any such thing. You teach all commoners to be filial towards your parents, then you can go ahead and kill your parents. Because you only kill one set of parents, whereas you have 100 million people who are being filial to their own parents. Therefore, this is nothing. And you ask commoners to change from good to evil, evil to good, and that's you as well. So you don't have to eat less meat or drink less alcohol because you're getting others to cultivate for you. It's just like this lady here says, my husband will cultivate for me, and therefore I'm cultivating. Duh! Sounds good? Buddhism is wonderful. As long as you order a commoners to him doing evil and doing good, then this is your own cultivation. And he's so happy, he said, this is such, Buddhism is so wonderful, I will build temples for you. And you know why? I never heard such great things. Because the other monks could not explain it to me because they're confused about conditions. And the confusions, and they are confused about principles only. They can't advise me in what to do. And what is confused about conditions, I talked about, the cycles, the cause and effect, retribution will fail. Because, hey, I'm exempt. They couldn't even understand I'm exempt. You see that? That's what it means. I read this, what is it talking about? Oh, yeah, him. I'm exempt. I'm exempt from cause and effect. This Buddhism is fantastic. And the Confucians who brainwashed the Chinese very well, Asians very well. You lucky you're not Asian. We all brainwashed by Confucius. There's some good parts about it, but when you get to a high level, it's so darn confusing. Confucius was very good for stupid people who need to be kept in check to serve the emperor. You guys are lucky. You know, you're not Asian, trust me. Because the Asians are brainwashed. When I teach my Asian disciples to a high level, now I said, let me tell you, don't quote me your Confucian value systems. It doesn't apply to me, doesn't apply to us. Brainwashing is necessary for confused people. They're not designed to help them open the wisdom. They're only designed to keep them in check. That's all. So it's packaged under, you be humane, you have to be filial, you have to respect the rights, you have to respect authority in order to keep you in check. That's all. You need to blindly follow. Okay, so that's why they have a lot of articles in classical literature, and they say these are the principles of humanity, humaneness, of etiquette, and so forth. Okay, I'm not saying they're not important. They're important. Okay, however, when you need to also be free from those constraints in order for your wisdom, your true wisdom to unfold. Confucius never intended to develop wisdom in the people. That's why the Buddha had to come. You get it? If Confucius was able to do it, why would the Buddha need to come to the world? Why did the Chinese have to go to China? And the patriarch had to go to China. So from today's discussion with the great master, I have a clear understanding of the great way of heaven and human beings. Meaning, I'm the son of heaven, I'm exempt. You human beings are not. It's disgusting. I read this, I feel like barfing. What kind of Buddhism is this? You cannot teach confused people this way. There's no foundation for this guy, for his brand of Buddhism. His temple, see? As a result, he built Qi Huan Temple. You give me that temple, I would take it, but then I would sell it right away. Because it's corrupt. I don't want it to be known as a Buddhist temple. I would take it because it costs money, okay? Sell it so, to a non-Buddhist person so that it ceases to be a Buddhist temple. We have our standards. And this is the problem with the young monks who says, I'm going to build temples. I'm going to save a lot of people. I'm going to teach people about Pure Land Buddhism and confuse the heck out of them. But at least someday they'll be saved. Buddha said so. You recite my name, you'll be guaranteed rebirth to the Pure Land. It might take a little bit longer, but at least you get reborn to the Pure Land. Isn't it better? That's why I call corrupt Pure Land Buddhism. It's not for everyone. Yes, it's good to have to go to these corrupt temples and so forth because that's all you got. It's okay too, but not for us. No thanks. And the sixth patriarch, all the great patriarchs says, no thanks. Yeah, let, what's his name? Sheng Xiu go to the emperor, okay, and get the royal patronage and build a lot of temples and make Buddhism such widespread throughout China. Wonderful. Sixth patriarch says, not for me. I will teach my followers, my handful of followers. That's good enough. Okay? Buddhism is big enough so that it has Sheng Xiu to serve such people, the Lão Bài Sinh. And then the sixth patriarch says, I want to teach only, a superset of people. That's it. So that Buddhism had different levels. I'm not saying he shouldn't do it. Okay? This Gung Te Kai is okay. If he builds temple and he talks to the emperor like that, it's okay too. There's nothing wrong with it. But not for us. Not for me. That's all I'm saying. I'm not taking our high road or anything. I'm just saying Buddhism has many different gradations, many different levels. Which one do you want? Is that clear? That's all. It's your personal choice. We're not going to stop you from going to, Jihuan Temple. Go, have fun. But when you come back, take a shower. It's fun. It's okay. We embrace it all. You understand? Please don't understand that I'm a high road. I don't care. This is inferior. No. For us, it's not for us. Buddhism still serves Japan well in a certain way. Okay? It helps. It prepares them. Just like my late father, he went to a lot of teachers. Vietnamese teachers, famous ones, and Tibetan teachers, and all those things. Eventually, he ended up on Master Hsuan Hua, and that's how I look at that and say, oh, they're being prepared to go. It's okay. That's Buddhism too. Okay, time is up, everyone. Thank you. So remember, Super Lotto. Now back to the real world, okay? We talk all we want, but we still need to eat tomorrow. I can't express how grateful I am to Master Hsuan Hua. His teaching is so profound and provide a guiding light for myself personally. That is priceless. That's why we're doing this. Spread the word. He's a great teacher. His disciples may not understand it, may not appreciate it as much as they're supposed to. But the teaching is fantastic. It's such pure Buddhism, untainted. Okay? Thank you.